I'm going to jump into the chat as well, say hello to a few people before we bring that graphic up. There's not loads in the way of news today. In fact, it's been quite quiet recently. I don't know if this is that kind of summertime slump drama. There's no Sasha and Naomi walking out. We don't have any of those things. So there's a little bit of a lull at the moment, maybe a little bit quiet. But as we said, it'll soon pick back up again as we head towards SummerSlam, head towards that Wembley show. Obviously, Money in the Bank coming up for WWE as well. So there's plenty of things that are on the horizon. I can see there's people jumping in all the time. So let's get to that graphic first. We'll get to the graphic first. We'll have a look at what matches we've got. Then we'll jump into the chat. So they've done it a bit different this week. I'm a bit torn on it because it's like an old school fight poster, which I really like. And I think that's really clever. But it does also make it just a little harder to read as to what's actually happening. Like, for example, Toni Storm. You can't even see her name. It says, like, Tone. So, like, you've really got to know who these people are to know what the matches are. So, a little harder to read than it usually is. But I do like the aesthetic, right? So, pros, cons. But main event, MJF taking on Adam Cole. So that is a championship eliminator. So if Adam Cole wins, he will get a shot at the title. If MJF wins, I think Adam Cole just has to leave him alone for a bit or something. But basically, Adam Cole's got to win to get a shot at the title. Feeling pretty good that he's going to get that victory. So feeling pretty good that he'll win that. We'll then get the title match. Toni Storm is taking on Sky Blue. Sky Blue won a match. I can't remember if it was a Battle Royal or like a Fatal 4-Way or Fatal 5-Way. I think it was one of those, actually. She won it, which was quite the surprise. So she is now going to be the challenger. This just strikes me as Toni being champ and them trying to find a way of keeping a champ for a while. They don't want to give her like a serious challenge. So they're giving her Sky Blue. It's good exposure for Sky Blue. It's good that she's now going to be competing for a title. She's going to be seen in the eyes of the fans as being a little bit more legitimate. So that's a win. And Toni can retain so she can keep that belt longer. That's a win. So you can kind of see why it makes sense. So fine. Could be a good match. I don't mind either women there. I think both of them are pretty good. Sky Blue a bit unknown, but I think if you look at Sky Blue as being like a Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, she's not quite ready to be consistently on the show. She's not going to necessarily blow your mind with her match, but she should be tidy. She's got a nice little move set. She has been doing it a while. She's got a little bit of experience. She should be a good opponent for Toni. They should be able to come up with something there. So I think it'll be fine. I don't think that hasn't got that's not Anna Jay against Julia Hart, right? That should be all right. Then we've got Mogul Embassy. I honestly, I don't know who's in it. I mean, I think it's like Gates of Agony. Is that Brian Cage and Swerve taking on Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, Sting, and Keith Lee? So that match, there just seems like there's a lot going on there for me. But I'm sure it'll be fun. There's a lot of big names. Obviously, Sting, getting the chance to see Sting compete in 2023 is very special. So just for that reason alone, it's going to be worth tuning in for, just so that you can say that you saw Sting still wrestling in the year of 2023. But there does seem like there's a lot happening in that match. Wardlow against Jake Hager. That's for the TNT Championship. Should be fine. Yeah, two big guys. Obviously, a lot of experience there. You've got Jake Hager, who we haven't really done a great deal with. I know that he's been still running with the hat thing, which is fine. That got over. Wardlow is interesting. He's someone that could be the guy that could go on to beat MJF. There's a few names that could go on to beat MJF. CM Punk maybe could be in that conversation. But I think because of their history, Wardlow is actually an interesting shout, because obviously Wardlow's beaten MJF and decisively in the past. So it's right there if you want to do it, the history between those two. And I'm sure that is a match that they want to do, of course. And I would imagine that he is just, doing a little bit in the mid-card first. And then he will face MJF at some point. And as I said, there's maybe a chance that he is the person that does go on to beat MJF because he's done it before. And he could do it again. MJF could be able to get past everybody with his tricks and his cheating and, his mind games. And he might be able to get past everyone except Wardlow. I really like that. I think that's quite good. I think everyone needs an arch nemesis. And maybe Wardlow could be MJF's arch nemesis. It could be the one guy he just cannot get past. It could be the one guy that just seemingly has got his number. Maybe because he spent so long with him as his bodyguards. So he just knows him inside out. He knows the mind games. He's seen behind the mask. He's seen behind the machine. I kind of like that. So Wardlow, I think, is interesting. He's someone that's maybe not as hot as he used to be. That is something I think we can warm back up, though. I think we should be able to turn the heat back up on Wardlow whenever needed. And Jake Hager will be a perfectly fine opponent. And then, of course, we've got the Elite against Blackpool Combat Club. Now, this was... it was quite clear. We just want this to be a 6-person tag. We don't want any outside interference. It's going to be the Bucks. It's going to be Hangman taking on Cesaro, Moxley, and Wheeler Yuta. That is it. Now, will we see Danielson? Yeah, I reckon there's a good chance we will. Will we see Omega? Yeah, there's probably a good chance we will. We probably will get that outside interference. But, look, this has got a lot of star power in it, and it could be quite the spectacle. I'm not the biggest fan of Young Bucks matches, but there are literally hundreds of thousands of people that are. And so this will be a lot of fun for them. For me, I really struggle. When I watch someone like Ilya, who just sells his back teeth, right? He just sells and sells and sells. And when you think he can't sell anymore, he sells even more. He goes further. His selling is so insane. I don't know that I've ever watched an Ilya Dragunov match and not thought to myself, is he all right? Is he all right? Is he okay? Because I am actually a bit worried here because the chops, and normally, in all fairness, his chest is red raw. There's normally some blood coming from somewhere or some markings on his face or something. You can tell that he has legit been in a war. And then he's trying to get up off the mat, and it's it's also labored, and it's also come on, digging deep in it. I mean, I just love watching Ilya. Ilya is one of my favorite performers to watch. That's the kind of style that I gravitate most towards. The Gunther style, which is a similar style, of course, very brutal, very hard hitting. I think I just love that realism as a wrestling fan. You get being told it's the fake stuff. It's go and watch an Ilya Dragunov match and come back to me about if it's fake. I suppose AEW fans could say, go watch a Moxley match and come back to me as to whether you think it's fake. And yeah, this is where, with the Young Bucks doing every move under the sun and very little gets sold. That's, I would say, the other end of the spectrum. So this is where I can struggle sometimes with the Bucks, but it's a lot of star power. They're massively over. This is one of the biggest feuds that's going in AEW. I'm not down on it. I just know what I'm going to get, and I know it's not going to be quite to my taste. In all fairness, Blackpool Combat Club do bring a little bit more of that rough and ready style, so I don't know, maybe they could actually complement each other quite well. Maybe this match could be where you've got that kind of Young Bucks doing every move under the sun. Hangman's not quite that bad about not selling, and you should get some stuff from Moxley. Doesn't sell, but he does get busted open. I think there's every chance Moxley gets busted open in this match, which, to be honest, I don't mind. This is probably the match to do it, because I think when he's going one-on-one against Nakazawa, I would say that's probably a match you can leave the Bloods. We don't need it. If you're going 1-on-1 with Peter Avalon, don't need it. But if you're going into a war, a 6-man war, then I would say, you know what, if you get a bit of Bloods, I don't mind. I think that's all right. I think that this would be the time to break it out. So, yeah, not a bad-looking card, to be honest. Not a bad-looking card. There's not a single match there that I'm like, oh, God, I really don't want to watch that. I will quite happily watch Elite against Blackpool Combat Club. As I said, I think there's a few people in there that I think will make it a bit more palatable to me. Wardlow, I think, is one for the future, worth keeping an eye on. The middle match is probably the one I'm least bothered about, if I'm being honest, but Sting's in it, so Sting in it. And then we've got Toni Storm against Sky Blue, as we said. I think that'll be fine. I like both women. And MJF against Adam Cole, even though I know which way I think it's going to go. I thought their promo segment last week was quite good. It wasn't amazing. I thought it was quite good. And I thought that they did a good job. The reason why I say it's good is because was I more excited for this match after that segment than I was before? Yes, I was. And so you have to say it did its job. The only thing I would say is I did see some comments, obviously, because you get all kinds of opinions. I did get some comments of people saying it was like an all-time classic promo, this kind of stuff. I don't agree with that. I mean, this is where you just have to rein it in a little bit. But it did its job in the sense of it got me a bit more excited for this match. So, as I said at the start, I don't think that's too bad of a card. I don't think it's too bad of a card. It's not a classic. It's not one that we're going to put in our diaries as the greatest Dynamite card we've ever seen. But I think that it's quite tight. And there's also no mention of a Tony Khan announcement. Just for that reason alone, I'm shocked. I am shocked. So we'll see what AEW have got for us tonight. Donald said, who do you think will be Sting's last opponent? Donald, shout out to you, buds. I think and believe that you should lose your last match. I'm a big, big, big believer in that. And so I think he should lose. I think it should be against someone that's going to really benefit from getting that victory. It's going to be difficult, isn't it? Because, I mean, he can face... The problem with Sting is that he is so old and past his prime that he's cool, he's Sting, but to beat in him, I don't think it means a great deal. Like, I don't know. It's a good question because the obvious answer would be Darby Allin. That would be the obvious answer because of how much time they'd spent together. And for Sting to be in a match with Darby, and you know what Darby's like. I mean, he is just turned up to, 110. So he is just going to go and just chuck himself around. And it's going to be quite the spectacle. Given their history together as well, it would make sense. The only thing I can't quite make sense out of it, well, first of all, I don't think it means loads if Darby beats Sting. I think we would all expect that to happen, which might be a little problem. The other thing is, how do you tell that story? Because I don't think you want to turn Darby heel, or maybe you do. Maybe you do want to turn Darby heel. If you turn Darby heel, that would make a lot more sense. But if it's going to be a case that it's babyface against babyface, I don't know. That's tricky, innit? If it's babyface against babyface, like, is that gonna work as well? I am reminded of Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels. That was babyface against babyface, and that worked perfectly fine. But that also had a fantastic story of Ric Flair saying that he's going to keep going until he loses. Or I think it was Vince, actually, that said, like, your next loss will be your last match. So he was going up against a load of people and just getting wins. And he was like, defying the Office, basically. The Office were waiting for him to lose, but he just kept winning. And eventually he gets put in there against, Mr. WrestleMania at WrestleMania. And you knew it was coming to an end at that point. But to be honest, it was just perfect because it was WrestleMania. It was Shawn Michaels. it didn't matter that it was babyface. The story had been really good. The question was, could he get past Shawn? But we all knew he wouldn't. I mean, like, you knew this was the last time you were seeing him, even though they didn't say this was the last time. It's funny, isn't it? Because that's his retirement match, but it's not billed as his retirement match. It's billed as his potential retirement match. So, I don't know. Do you do something similar with Sting? Could you not bill it as his last match, but as potentially his last match if he loses? If he loses, then he's, out of AEW or something. And, do you build it like that way and take a leaf out of the Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels book? So, I don't know. I mean, Darby would be the one that would seem most obvious. But equally, you could go in a different direction. And you could have like a monster heel say that they don't want to just beat Sting. They want to get him out of AEW. And so if he loses, then he has to leave. He has to retire, and you could go down that road. I don't know that they've got that monster heel, though. I don't know that they've got that monster heel that's gonna be. I mean, you'd feel like that'd be an MJF thing. Yeah, that's the kind of thing MJF would say. I don't want you just to lose. I want you gone. I want you out. And if you lose, then you're out of AEW. And then, of course, that would mean that Darby wouldn't be in the match. He'd be at, like, say, ringside, banging on the edge. Come on, Sting, dig deep, dig deep. And then it all goes wrong, and Sting loses. And then that would set up Darby against this person to feud going forward. So, but I can't give you the name because I can't think of any heel that is dastardly enough to kind of use that sort of a stipulation. Maybe Christian, but Christian wouldn't feel like a very good final person for Sting, to be honest. But Christian's probably dastardly enough to come up with such a thing. And who else? I can't think of anyone. It's bad, isn't it? I don't know that they've got like any great monster heels outside of like MJ. I think MJF and Christian are like their two best heels for me. So I'll go with Darby and let the community have a little think about that. I did just see another super chat that came in. Let me try and get to that one. Let's scroll down. Mitchell, shout out to you. Right, Mitchell said, do you think the lack of Collision ticket sales is due to Punk not being a draw, saturating the Canada market? Forbidden Door is the week before. Lack of card announcements, or all of the above? I think it's all of the above, to be honest. I think that I think there's another one in there, actually, that you've not mentioned, which is the damage that the Elite have done to CM Punk. So that incident that happened between the Elite and CM Punk, it did divide the AEW fan base. I have had comments on various platforms where I think it was when I put my video up that CM Punk was coming back and it had been announced by Tony. There was comments that people were making saying, don't want him back. Don't want him back. Not after what he did. And so, and a few of them as well, not just one or two. I'm talking like, 20, 30, 40 across all the platforms. It seems to me that I do think I don't think Punk's not a draw, right? I don't think that at all. Because I think he showed when he was in AEW last time, he absolutely was. And I remember Tony going on a bit of a rant. I can't remember what the question was, but Tony got asked a question and he sat at a press conference and he was like, I've got this. And he's like, he's done this, he's done that, he's done this, he's done that. He's headlined the first $1 million show. He's done this, blah, blah, blah. And he went down a list. We're seeing a 10% rise on Dynamite. We're seeing blah, 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 blah. He just out came all this data. And so I don't think Tony's got any doubts that CM Punk's a draw. I don't think Tony's got, he had a list of reasons as to why he was. So I think everything was fine up until the incident. And then, of course, we haven't seen him. But I actually think that the incident has now damaged Punk a little. I think that there are fans, AEW fans, that are behind the Elite and don't respect Punk. Punk it to some is a Johnny come lately. Punk to some is someone that came in and caused locker room trouble. And they will cite the fact that he has caused trouble pretty much everywhere he's gone. I mean, look at how he left WWE. And so is it a great surprise he's come into AEW and now there's been drama? Drama just seems to follow CM Punk around. And there's people that blame Punk for that. AEW fans that blame Punk for that. When the announcement's been made about him, you could hear in the arena a mixture of boos and cheers. You would never have got that before. You know, if you think before CM Punk arrived the first time, AEW fans were all united. It was one voice. It was them trying to bring down WWE seemingly, right? And, you know, we're going to get behind the Elite. We're going to, you know, create something special. This is going to be our space. This is going to be our promotion. This is for us. They kind of created that sort of mentality. And then they managed to get CM Punk. And, oh my God, the biggest free agent in all of wrestling. Someone that hates WWE as well, but someone that is a bona fide star, super cool. He is coming to AEW. He is coming to this startup promotion. He's coming to support the cause. And everyone loved him. Everyone loved him. There was no split reactions then. Everyone loved him. And so I think everything was great. And as I said, I can't remember what the question was to Tony, but Tony did get a question and then he came out with all this information. And I do think he was a draw. But that incident happens. Those comments are made by Punk as well. Also, all right, Hangman had done some stuff, but don't forget CM Punk got in the ring and called out Hangman when Hangman, I think, wasn't even there, and called him out to the ring in a completely unplanned part of the segment. So, you know, that was CM Punk just fuming, basically. And calling out Hangman for Hangman's comments that he'd made, even though that wasn't part of the script, wasn't part of the show. People know all this stuff as well. And so there's people that look at that drama and, you know, I don't know that it's as deep as... I think there's three teams. I think there's Team Punk. I think there's Team Elite. And I think there's Team Can't We All Just Be Friends, right? And I think people, if you're an AEW fan, you fall into that category. You fall into Team Elite, Team Punk, or Team Can't We All Just Be Friends. And I think there is a sizable Team Elite. I think there is a sizable number of people that have took the Elite side on this. And I don't know if that's hurt in Collision ticket sales, but it really could be, because what it's done is it's hurt Punk's drawing ability. Because all of a sudden now, people don't want him back. You're hearing boos in the arena when the announcement's being made. You're hearing mixed reactions. And there was never mixed reactions before. It was a unanimous, he's fighting the fight. He's joining the cause, right? Now it's split. So there's a bit of a civil war that's going on in AEW amongst the fans, which is really interesting. And so I think that is a factor. I don't think it's the only factor at all. I think it is a factor. I also think the fact that they are saturating the Canadian market. You see, I think that AEW are trying to hit the big areas, the big wrestling towns, the big wrestling states, if you will. And I mean, I can't tell you in 2023 how many of those there are in America. I mean, could you run Houston? Could you run Dallas? Could you run Memphis? Could you run Orlando? Could you run New York? Could you run California? Could you run Chicago? I feel like you can run those places. Philadelphia, you can definitely run as well. I feel like you can run these places. But how many of those places are there? in order to do a show every single week. And actually, not only just a show, 2 shows, because you've now got to do Collision as well. And then you need to find another venue for your pay-per-view. So all of a sudden, I don't know. I mean, if you're AEW, you're probably not going to go to a small town because, are you going to find enough AEW fans there? I mean, realistically, AEW is drawing on national TV. What is it, like 800,000, 800 and something thousand? So they are playing with a much smaller fan base than WWE. They don't have as many eyes on the product. That's just fact. That's just fact, right? There's not as many eyes on the AEW product as there is on the WWE product. I think even the most hardcore AEW fan would agree with that. So that does limit the amount of places that you can go to. And it would make it seem like you can only go to the big hubs, your New Yorks, your Californias, your Philadelphias, so on, so on, so on. And so, this is potentially why we keep running Chicago. We run it a lot. It's probably their most passionate fan base. Jacksonville's obviously a place that you can always go to as well. But yeah, I mean, you are running the risk of saturating these markets if you can't find other places to go. This is why AEW, if they can expand globally, would be fantastic for them, because for 4 years now, they've been so reliant on those same hubs. How many times have we been to Chicago? How many times have we been to Jacksonville? How many times have we been to, I don't know, Miami or California or these places over the last 4 years? I think they are trying different areas. They have tried the odd different market, but if they can get some more big hubs like, say, London, that there's absolutely no reason why you can't do a Dynamite and Collision from London every year. Same with Canada, do somewhere there every year. New York, blah, 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 blah. Just add to it. Can you get any joy going to Australia? Can you get any joy going to Japan? Can you get any joy going to Mexico? Like, where can you go? Where can you expand? Can you do anything in Saudi? Probably not. I'd imagine WWE have got that locked down. And to be honest, for their image, they probably wouldn't want to. But we know that there is seemingly an appetite for wrestling over in Saudi Arabia. But as I said, that one probably on lockdown, probably not great for their image. So they probably wouldn't do it. But they do need to not over rely on certain areas. But I do also think it could be a little bit of a struggle, because I don't think they're playing with loads of areas. So yeah, I think there is oversaturation with Canada. And I do think, regardless of the fact that they're relying on just certain hubs, there's no reason why Canada is as saturated as what it is. It does seem to be bad planning there. The fact that they've run so much in Canada in such a short space of time. So I do blame location for that. Lack of card announcements shouldn't be an issue. You've only got to look at Wembley to see the lack of card announcements really shouldn't be a problem. I think the fact that you've already teased that Thunder Rosa's going to be on, Miro's going to be on, CM Punk's going to be on, FTR's going to be on. There's a few names that you've already, those names that went into the locker room. I think the caliber. I think this is meant to be Dynamite 2.0. You know that CM Punk's going to be on it, so this is not a small show. So I think I don't think card announcement is a big problem. Maybe it is for some. Maybe some are like, I don't know who's on. I'm not going to go until I know who's on. But that hasn't shown itself at Wembley. Doesn't show itself for WrestleMania. WrestleMania sells out before a single match has been announced. Wrestling fans don't seem to be too worried about that. If they believe in the company, they'll believe that whatever they go to see will be a good product. So I don't think lack of card announcements is one. But I do think saturating the Canadian market. I do think the damage to CM Punk's drawing power is also another as well. So quite a lengthy answer, but hopefully one that a few people can have a bit of fun with. Aubrey Edwards, 1000 Days Roman said Ric Flair is the worst example of how to have a career-ending match. HBK versus Rick was great, and it should have stopped there. The only thing I will say to that is that I never watched TNA. So to me, that was his last match. So you're right. You're absolutely right. He should have stopped there. But for me personally, it's not a problem because I never watched TNA. I've seen the clips of him and like Jay Lethal. That was great. His little woo, and then, Jay Lethal dropping the elbow in the entranceway and everything. I mean, I believe that was after. And then granted, that wasn't him wrestling. So we probably could have got that anyway. But that is a little bonus that I think we got post WrestleMania 24. But yeah, I've never seen a single one of his matches from TNA, even today. I could not tell you how horrifically bad they are, or even if they are, they might be brilliant. I genuinely don't know. I did watch his last match, though. The one that was billed as his last match. We did a watch along for it, and I mean, look, it's infamous, isn't it? It's horrific. I mean, he's passing out. There will be, if there's not already, little commentaries, documentaries done on that. The kind of thing OSW Review do. Those guys could go to town on Ric Flair's last match, Ric Flair's last stand, whatever. And I've heard he wants another as well. I've heard he wants to go again and you can understand why, because that last one, a career as great as Ric Flair, I can understand you not wanting to go out on that one. So, I don't know, maybe we'll see him again. If he has another last match, I will watch it. I'm not going to lie. I will watch it. Maybe it could be like an annual tradition. Every year we watch Ric Flair's last match. It's Ric Flair's yearly final retirement match. It could just be a nice little December tradition. We see out the year and we see out Ric Flair's career until next year when we do the exact same thing again. But yeah, that's the WrestleMania 24 one was brilliant, wasn't it? That is one of the greatest final matches. Maybe the greatest final match in a career, if you count it as his last WWE match. I mean, never had another one after that, to my knowledge. Don't even know of him competing on a house show or anything. So I still believe that was his last WWE match. But yeah, you might get to see him again. James, shout out to you, bud, said, calling it now, bit of fantasy booking, go for it. Blackpool Combat Club is destroying the Elite, then Kota Ibushi comes out and saves them, stands side by side with the Elite to end the show. James, that would be sick. Love it. I mean, I think that because wasn't it Kenny, or there was a comment that was made that was certainly suggesting someone was coming in. And I am expecting Kota Ibushi to come in. Kota's out of New Japan now. And I think he's just doing his training school thing and maybe wrestling for a few other promotions. But with Forbidden Door coming up, with Wembley coming up, and actually Kota has competed quite a lot in the UK at like Rev Pro, I believe, and other smaller promotions around the London area. I think that he would want to say goodbye to, because, I can't see him coming into AEW and having 5-year run or anything. I think I could see him coming in, doing the Wembley show, doing a few shows, and then maybe going off, and that's it, into the sunset to do his wrestling school. Who knows, though? I mean, he might come in, he might absolutely love it, he might stick around. So I agree, I completely agree. I think Kota coming in, I can definitely see that happening. And to be honest, didn't really think about that being tonight. So I like that fantasy booking. It's good. Matt, shout out to you, Matt. Matt says heel Punk would be exquisite. Examples of promos. I am this company. Wrestling is nothing without me. I'm a god to you people. Yes, I agree. I suppose if I'm Tony, I am just a little bit worried that a heel Punk is going to affect ratings. I need Collision's ratings to be as strong as possible. by taking one of my biggest baby faces and turning him heel, am I sacrificing those ratings? And I can hear what people are saying right now, and I'm getting to it. Roman Reigns is, one of the biggest draws, and he is a heel. And look at the numbers on SmackDown, and I completely agree. It's a perfectly good example of why you could turn Punk heel and be confident that the ratings wouldn't suffer, because we've seen them do that exact thing with Roman. The only thing I would say is I think Roman has had some of the greatest creative backing that I've ever seen from WWE. The Bloodline story is one of the greatest stories WWE has ever told. I would even happily go on record to say it's the best, right? There's been some brilliant stories in the past, right? We've spoke about McMahon and Austin. We've spoke about like the Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels rivalry, which, we kept digging into when we needed to. It wasn't a constant thing, but we kept digging into it when we needed to. We also had Bret and Owen, which I think that was Wrestle with Andy that spoke about that one, which was fantastic. We also had Hulk Hogan and Macho Man, going from WrestleMania 4 to WrestleMania 5. That was brilliant. But I think what we saw with Sammy and what we saw with the Usos and what we saw with the impact to ratings on SmackDown and what it's all done for Roman and Bloodline and all of that, I think the way it was told, the way that we were able to explore the characters and really get into those relationships, I feel like it's the most in-depth story. I feel like it's the most in-depth. I can't think of another story that had so much nuance to it as we've said before. Like the little looks that people give each other. And what I love is that this is something that they've learned this. They know this works, and they are using this now. Look at what they're doing with Finn Balor. Finn Balor giving Damian Priest little looks, just little, and like having a conversation with JD, and now Damian Priest comes over and he's like, "Listen, Seth's got us all at each other. We need to figure this out. You need to end this." So, like, even with Finn Balor and Judgment Day, I feel like some of the lessons we've learned about what's worked with Bloodline have been transferred over to this current Judgment Day story at the moment, which I think is brilliant. I really like the story. It's nowhere near as good as Bloodline yet, right? But we don't know how long this thing's going to run for. We don't know what's happening with JD. We don't know what's happening with Damian Priest. We don't know what's happening with Finn. So there's a lot of moving parts, and I'm intrigued to know where it's going to go. So, I think there's some really good stuff, really good creative at the moment. But can AEW find creative on that level to support a heel Punk? Because those promos that Matt just mentioned sound awesome. They sound brilliant. Him coming out just saying those lines, brilliant. But you're going to need, obviously, rivalries, feuds. You're going to need him to be put in difficult situations. You're going to need to have a few good challengers coming after him. He's going to need a little group around him as well. Putting FTR with him, I think, would make a lot of sense. But you need someone young that they can develop. So, FTR being with CM Punk, brilliant. But who's that little student? Who's going to be their Wheeler Yuta? Let's put it that way. Who's going to be their Wheeler Yuta? Because I feel like you need at least one extra person in that group. If you go with Punk, FTR, and one other person, then you need good creative. Add in those promos. Yeah, you could get somewhere. You could get somewhere there. I like that as well. AEW ratings were bad, says Wan. Wan, shout out to you. Hope you're well. Where are we? We've got 19 minutes till the show starts. Areas, Who would win? Me and Rage making our AEW debut, coming from an indie show, Crossfire Wrestling versus the Guns. How do you think the match rating would be? Well, again, I said this. It's a bit, but like having one piece of a jigsaw puzzle. So I don't know if you are coming in as just a one-time thing. Because if you're coming in from a different promotion, like if you're coming in representing Crossfire Wrestling and it's a one-hit thing, you're probably jobbing, aren't you, in AEW? If you're coming in, if you're a local talent coming in to face the Guns, you're probably coming in to job. So I'd imagine the match rating will be low, and I would imagine that the Guns will win very easily. But if you are seen as a big prospect and you've just been properly signed, and you are meant to be like, the next big tag team, Tony Khan really likes you, he's got big plans for you, then either that match is going to be really competitive and you just lose, or it could be really competitive and you just get the victory, right? And then start a longer feud. So, as I said, like, you need more pieces to the puzzle. You need to know, are the championships involved? Are the Guns about to go away for a little bit? Like, what are the long-term plans? Like, all of these things change the results of the match. So it's not as easy as this person versus this person who wins. You can never do that. You can never do that, because you could run that match like 10 different ways and have 10 different outcomes depending on the scenarios around it. I mean, you could, if you was to do Hogan against Ric Flair, if you did Hogan Ric Flair in like 83, then there's a good chance that Ric Flair's going to pick up the victory there. If you do Hogan Ric Flair in, say, 96, 97, then Hulk Hogan's going to pick up the victory, because same two people, different times, but different circumstances as well. But Days, when will the Bloodline story run its course? Well, I feel like we're probably getting to that, because it looks like the Usos are on the way out of the Bloodline now. So that's only going to leave Roman and Solo. I feel like Roman, we heard that he was going to take a break, and he hasn't took a break yet. So I don't know when he's going to take this break. I don't know if it's going to be after SummerSlam. I can't see it being before SummerSlam, because SummerSlam, I think, is early August, July. I mean, like, if you think Money in the Bank is going to be July 1st, I think the next one after that is SummerSlam. And so there's not going to be any time for him to take time off, because he ain't missing SummerSlam. So we're gonna have to get his next challenger, and we're gonna have to build that feud and get to SummerSlam. So I think we could be looking at him taking some time off after SummerSlam. Whether Solo is going to stick with him whilst he's away, or maybe Solo's just gonna, Solo won't take time off because he's only just started his run. Really, he's not even a year into his main roster run, so he has got so much that he needs to do. So he is gonna, I would imagine, stick around and just compete on his own. But really, I mean, I don't know. There's not really much of a bloodline if the Usos go, is there? I mean, you've just got Heyman, Solo, and Roman, unless they bring someone else in. But as we've said, this thing has been all about family, and Sammy was an outsider that wasn't blood, and that obviously frustrated Jay. So for Roman to go and bring someone in that's not blood, you could use that as part of the story. That could frustrate the Usos even more. They've been replaced by people that aren't bloods, but they're still running around calling themselves Bloodline, because Roman has decided that these strangers are actually more loyal than his own family. Like, you could go down that road. I don't know that they will go down that road, but it could be kind of fun if they did, because then that would set up the Usos against these imposters, these imposter Usos. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like we're getting close towards the end, because I don't see them doing that. I don't see them replacing the Usos. I think we are potentially just coming towards the end of this run because I think Roman loses the title at 40, WrestleMania 40, and then I think we're pretty much done. I mean, I don't see him hanging around after that. I think he will start doing Brock type appearances after that. I think he'll look at Hollywood. Apparently, he's been turning films down. He said in an interview he gets offers to do movies, but he is so enjoying what's going on and the story that's being told in wrestling at the moment that he's quite happy doing what he's doing. Like he's quite happy to, pursue this and ride this for as long as it'll ride. I think we're riding it till WrestleMania 40. And then as soon as we get there, I could see it being done. I've got nothing to base that on. All I'm basing it on is the fact that, there are noises of him taking time off. There are noises of him going to Hollywood. There are noises of him turning films down. And so there has to come a point where, we're not going to be able to keep the wolf from the door for very long. There's going to have to come a point where he does go into that world and kind of turn down his wrestling career. And so it honestly 40 could be when we do make a bit of a shift. And so that's kind of the timeline I'm thinking, but I've got I haven't spoke to him. I've got no evidence of it, but that's kind of the timeline I'm thinking. So I think WrestleMania 40 is when we could be totally done with this whole bloodline stuff. We could have Roman lose the title. We could have Solo turn on Roman. Roman could then come back months later to target Solo. You could maybe count that as being a part of Bloodline if we do get Romans against Solo, and I feel like there's a good chance we will. And that could be the tail end of 2024. That could be like SummerSlam. SummerSlam 2024, Roman against Solo. I don't know what we do with The Rock. I'd love The Rock to be this SummerSlam. I'd love that. That would be the best. It'd be the best because right now is the perfect time for The Rock because you've got this big dissension in the family. You could have The Rock come back saying that even though he didn't like what the Bloodline were doing, he loved the fact that the family were looking after each other. What's happening? What's this? The Usos being treated the way that they're being treated now. Roman's losing his mind. He's absolutely losing it. He was meant to be the tribal chief. Well, you've lost your tribe. I mean, honestly, the stuff you can do, man, with The Rock coming in. And The Rock obviously is going to really fit into that story. You could do that match at SummerSlam. The stadium is big enough. It's a stadium we've used for an old WrestleMania 23, I think it was. So it's a WrestleMania size show. You build it. I mean, you're not going to need too much build. It's the flipping Rock against Roman Reigns. There's just no rumor of it. There's no sign of it. It's pie in the sky. It's fantasy booking. I don't see it happening. But now would be such a good time to do it. It would be such a good time to do it. And the concern is that WrestleMania 40 looks like it's going to be Roman Cody rematch with Cody getting the belt this time. That's what I'm thinking. And so there's no other big shows. When else would you do it? I mean, really, the Royal Rumble match is the big draw for the Royal Rumble. Survivor Series just ain't that big. You could make it big, I suppose, and you can't do it in Saudi. You can't do The Rock against Roman and do it over in Saudi. It's probably great for your relationship with Saudi, in all fairness, but no, you can't do it in Saudi. You can't do it at a Crown Jewel. They could, though, couldn't they? Thinking about it, they could. And that is a passionate fan base, in all fairness. I mean, it's not like we'd miss out on the atmosphere because the Saudi fans are great. They definitely make noise. But honestly, I would say, you can't do it in England. I'd be like, you can't do that in England. You can't do it in England. You can't do it in Saudi. You got to do that match in America. You got to do it in America. But I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever get it, to be honest. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and I don't know. Sometimes these things just don't come together, do they? But research with Thomas Flynn said, do you think AEW have been putting on great shows? No. I don't think they've been putting on great shows. I can't remember being like offended by their shows, but I haven't been coming away from them thinking, wow, that was really great. That was really good stuff. I've said before, I think I feel a bit of a disconnect, actually. I think part of the problem is that their main event story is just not very good, in my opinion. So their champion, MJF, he's fine, but he really does need like a big baby face to be playing off of. And we just put him in against the three other pillars, which on paper I think looks good. But in reality, the build just wasn't that great because they were getting in each other's way. And some of the comments that were being made, I would make the argument actually hurt some of the people. I mean, I cannot forget what Jungle Boy said to Darby Allin. It's one of the most staggering moments in a promo I think I've ever seen. And I'm not just saying that. It was one of those that just kind of goes, you can't believe it's been said. And that's when he turned around to him and says, you know, these people love you, but if they only knew what you was really like. It's like, that is one baby face to another baby face saying, these people love you, but if they knew what the real you was like, they wouldn't feel that way. I mean, you have just absolutely buried him, not only as a character, but as a person. I mean, that... Oh, because the way I looked at it, then I was like, oh, is he a douche? Is he? And I think wasn't this the same week that then a news story had come out that Jungle Boy had been like really off with people in England at a fan convention? I'm sure there was a story that came out. I don't know if it was that same week, but it certainly was around that time that Jungle Boy had been off with people. And, you know, fun fact, they were the two baby faces in this feud because Sammy was a heel, MJF was a heel. So the two baby faces, you know, I just said MJF needs to go up against a big baby face, a big monster baby face, so that it'll bring out he can be a heel, obviously, do his promos. You know, I think what we saw last week with him and Adam Cole was much better, much better. You know, now you've got these two baby faces shooting at each other, trying to rip each other down and doing a good job as well. So you had Jungle Boy kind of laying into Darby and burying him as a person. And then news came out that even Jungle Boy was a douche in real life as well. And I don't know. I mean, I just found myself like really feeling disengaged with that story at the top of the cards. And so I wasn't, you know, Double or Nothing. I wasn't bothered about seeing that match. That match did not get me to want to tune into that show. And I heard it was very good, though. I heard it was very good. I will give him credit there. I've seen a lot of people talk about it. I've seen a lot of reviews of it. People saying it was a really, really good match. But the build for me failed. And I think if you look at SmackDown, and you look at the top of the card being the Bloodline and just how important that's been for ratings and the success of the show, and then look at Dynamite and look at MJF and look at the title picture and look at like how important that is for the success of the show. Ratings have been so flat. They've been around 850, haven't they, consistently? You know, MJF as champion has not worked. It's not worked. We haven't crashed. We haven't gone down to 600,000 or anything like that. So I can't say it's been a disaster either, but it's not bringing in casual fans. It's not bringing in fresh eyes. It's getting us nowhere near that million mark. And, you know, AEW consistently were getting around that million, bobbing underneath, going back up again, sometimes 1.1, going back down to 1 million, bobbing to 900,000, back up to 1 million. Like we were doing that. Since MJF's been champion, it's been 850. It's been like a MJF spin jump. We need to get the resuscitators. We need to get the shock pads out. And the shock pad's called CM Punk, I think. So for me, I've just been waiting for something really tasty to get going. I also thought that the Outcasts girl group was a bit cringe at the start. I think that's got a bit better though. I think that's got better. Real shame that we had to take the title off Jamie Hayter, but putting it on to Toni Storm's all right. But again, I don't think that's going to do a great deal for ratings. I can't say that there's a juicy story in the women's division that I'm finding all that captivating. There's people I do like. I like House of Black. I think they're good. I like House of Black. I like Bryan Danielson, but single star, yeah? Not in this faction. Single star. When he's doing his solo matches, him against MJF, him against Kenny Omega, that's when Daniel Bryan shines. Daniel Bryan's one of the greatest in-ring competitors of this generation, yet he's in a faction. And, don't know, I mean, like, I know he's a little older, and I know that he's had his injuries, and I'm sure we do have to protect him, so I'm totally fine with that. But I'm just talking about preference, you know. Would you rather see Blackpool Combat Club, or would you rather see Bryan Danielson match? I'd rather see a Bryan Danielson match. So, you know, I'm not really getting that. I'm not getting really a good women's story. I'm not getting a good story at the top of the cards. FTR have just been in a feud with Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, which I can't even remember. Is it Sanjay Dutt? I mean, that guy is just so cringe. I like FTR a lot, but where's their great credible opponents? You know, I would love to see them against, I don't know, put them in a really good story with the Bucks. Put them in a really, really good creative story with the Bucks. Find some really good teams. I mean, obviously them against the Briscoes. I mean, that's the good stuff in it. That's the good stuff. The them against Briscoes is the kind of thing you would want for them. You know, obviously you can't do that now, but I don't know, them against the Guns. I suppose you could do them against the Acclaimed. I'm just trying to think of like really, really good heel tag teams. Really good heel tag teams. Maybe some of the AEW fans out there can chuck some names in as to who FTR could feud with going forwards that are like really good heel tag teams. But yeah, I know I sound like I'm moaning. I'm not. I'm just trying to explain as to why I don't think the shows have been great. I think they've been fine. At times, I think, you know, it's been a little bit... It's been fine. But I don't think they've been great. But this is where, as we said, you know, CM Punk's coming in, and we'll see what CM Punk can do, if he can breathe life into the promotion. I mean, I know he'll only be on Collision, but listen, if Collision is popping and there's, you know, momentum and there's a real good buzz, a good feeling, Punk's back, there's some really good creative, you know, that will help straight across the board. It helps the brand. It helps the brand. We don't see Roman on Raw, but, you know, WWE benefits from Roman. WWE benefits from the Bloodline. So, like, with CM Punk coming back, if that's going to work, AEW will benefit. Dynamite will benefit. Collision will benefit. You know, the whole brand benefits. We are up and running. AEW's product has always been good and solid, but never great. They need to get over that hump, says LS Dub. Here's Adam Cole. LS Dub, I hope you're well, buds. I think this is where we need a different booker. I think it comes down to that. Like, Tony Khan is a fan who has, you know, the same as all of us, ideas about what he wants to do. I think there has been some good stuff that Tony has done. That's undeniable. If there wasn't good stuff, then this promotion wouldn't be here 4 years later. So, you know, he can give himself a pat on the back. He can say, do you know what? I booked this thing from the start, and we're still here 4 years later, And, we're still getting consistent ratings. But I think he's tried so many different things to try and get, as you say, to that next level. To try and get that really juicy story going that's going to bring in those casual fans. And seemingly he's not found it. Seemingly he can't do it. So this is where you need to try and find someone that can do it, that's got some fresh ideas, some different ideas. And I think he is doing that. I mean, he said that he's leaning a bit more on Danielson. He said he's leaning... he made some noises about Will Washington kind of being a bit more involved in that sort of area. So, it's very easy to knock Tony Khan. Very easy. He makes it easy. But I'm going to say something nice, and that is that he should give himself a little pat on the back because he booked the show and they're still here 4 years later. Good TV deal. We don't know what the future's going to hold, but the future doesn't look bleak. The future looks really good. I mean, there's reports of like $1 billion deal on the horizon for AEW. Like all of that, that's not easy to do. That's not easy to do at all. But if they want to take that next step forwards, I don't know that Tony is the booker that's going to do that for them. If he was employing a booker that had been booking the show and the show had been consistently getting this rating and the creative was consistently what it is, would Tony look to change that booker? I think he would. I think that if he was employing someone that was doing the job that he was doing as booker, I think he would look to move on to someone different. And in all fairness to him, I think he has anyway. As we said, using Danielson more, using Will Washington. Okay, we are underway with our first match. This is going to be MJF taking on Adam Cole, baby. Regal should have been booking, says James. Could have been interesting. Could have been. I don't know how much Regal. I genuinely, I just don't know. I don't know how much Regal was involved in the booking of NXT. I think he was on the creative department, but yeah, I mean he should have been getting ideas. Maybe he was getting ideas from Regal. I'm not sure. I mean, it's yeah, it's easy, isn't it? Say get a booker. I mean, you can't really call up bookers are us. You've just got to really find someone that's. I mean, WWE like to go to ex-TV writers, don't they? They have that belief that people that have written for sitcoms and stuff like that are the right people to go for. Maybe they are. Never thought they were. I always thought you needed a real understanding of wrestling. But again, you've only got to look at some of the success recently in WWE. Maybe they were onto something. Maybe that's something Tony could look at. Just bringing someone in that's got that kind of sitcom, TV drama writing experience. Great crowd, by the way, here. We are starting with Adam Cole against MJF. And really great crowds. Crowd on their feet making noise as MJF paces around on the outside. There's a sign that says MJF framed Roger Rabbit. MJF goes in the crowd, grabs some popcorn, chucks it around. MJF goes up to a fan. There's a couple of fans, actually, that are talking trash. He knocks a guy's hat and glasses off. He's got to be so careful with that. He's got to be so careful. MJF getting into the ring. A whole chance for MJF. MJF and Adam Cole looking to lock up. MJF again berating the fans. I thought this would be the main event, said Lance. I did as well, actually. I did. Perhaps they'll go with Elite and Blackpool Combat Club. I mean, that would make sense. That would be perfectly fine. So MJF back in the crowd. Kicks coming into Adam Cole. Adam Cole slumps down in the corner. As we said, this should be a good match. I feel like Adam Cole will win it, but doesn't mean that this shouldn't be a good match. MJF going over and posing. Taz says tonight is loaded. Adam Cole grabs MJF, hurls him into the corner. Adam Cole comes over, starts stomping on MJF. Crowd are definitely fired up for this one. A lot of people on their feet. Shots coming in by Adam Cole. Crowd counting along as Adam Cole rains down these shots. Adam Cole, baby. This is better. All of this is better. Trying to get MJF over into the other corner, but MJF prevents it. MJF charging over, gets dumped to the outsides. So Adam Cole in the ring, MJF on the outsides. Cole is going against the ropes, slides under the bottom rope, baseball slide, ends up going in the ring skirt. We've got MJF dragging Adam Cole over to the ring steps, smashes his arm off the ring steps. And he looks over at the fans, MJF, as they're berating him. A rake of the back by MJF as well. So again, he's got Adam Cole's arm on top of the ring steps. He's standing on the hand, posing again. Stomps on the hand of Adam Cole. Adam Cole gets back into the ring as MJF goes up top. Looks out at the fans. Lots of interaction with the fans. Lots of posing. I mean, he'll do something and then go to the fans. And nice double wrist lock being applied. Days with FTR closeness with the Hart family. I'd have Brian Pillman Jr. with them. That would be good. Yeah, that'd be good. I don't know what he's doing at the moment. Don't know what he's doing. So yeah, that would be a good shout. You could have the Punk Foundation. I saw they got a new shirt that's based on the Hart Foundation design. The Punk Foundation. I'm not surprised Sammy Guevara and Ty Mello is pregnant, says Bryson. Godfather's Ho, shout out to you, said puffing on that powerhouse Hobbs. Is there going to be more matches announced for Saturday? We'll be puffing the Punk that night. They could have booked him better. R.I.P. Mr. Fuji. I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there will be more matches that get announced for Saturday. I'm sure there'll be a bit of a, you know, when Excalibur's like... I'm sure we'll have that at the end of the show. Brenton, shout out to you, buds. Hope you are. Hope you've had a good day. Tony all but teased that AEW's TV option for next year was picked up for next year. Collision starting made that obvious. What are your predictions for it as a show? For Collision as a show? I mean, I think it'll be very similar to Dynamite. I think it might have a slightly different color scheme. I feel like Collision, I'm getting yellow and red. Dynamite's like red and blue. So I feel like they might lean into a slightly different color scheme. Maybe they'll lean on the yellow a bit more. They probably should, actually. They probably should. I mean, if you think about Raw and SmackDown, one's red, one's blue. I mean, that doesn't show itself like, you know, on the screen or anything, but it's in the graphics, it's in the backgrounds. And I feel like leaning into the yellow of Collision might make sense. So from a branding point of view, I mean, I'd expect the stage to be similar. I'd expect the set out to be similar. I'd expect it to be similar. Not expecting much in the way of differences. I suppose, again, I'm just drawing off Raw and SmackDown about how they're basically the same, but just with different graphics. Maybe they will give us a different stage. We have had different stages for Raw and SmackDown, so maybe they'll give us a different stage for Collision. Roster-wise, he said he's not doing a hard roster. We read that yesterday. MJF's mouth just got busted. I don't know if that's real blood. It could be a capsule. But yeah, he said that there will be talents specific to the shows, certain shows, but there will also be crossover. He doesn't want to do like hard lines. He said he's not drawing any hard lines. So, you know, I'm looking at, obviously, I'm looking at Punk, I'm looking at FTR, I'm looking at Thunder Rosa in the women's division. I'm looking at those being the big players of each division. And then you just flesh it out with your Miros, who will also be in the mix, absolutely. And I don't know, where's Serena Deeb? Could she come back? She would fit on that show. You could put her, actually, in the Punk Foundation. Punk Foundation could be Pillman, FTR, CM Punk, and Serena Deeb. Let's go. So, shoulder up by MJF. Shoulder up by MJF as Adam Cole connected with a beautiful super kick. And a bit of blood, as we said, coming out the mouth of MJF. There's a kid in the crowd that I think he's trying to clap. I'm not sure. But he was kind of doing that. He's got a green shirt on. He's about 3 rows back. He's loving it. Panama Sunrise, can't get it. Can't get Panama Sunrise. MJF grabs Adam Cole, puts him on the outside, works on the arm. And again, no. Looking for Heat Seeker, but couldn't get it. Did you hear the news about Collision ads running on USA Network during Raw and NXT? Perhaps Tony bought ads. Can't imagine WWE is thrilled. Are we getting a third plug on Fox? Says Big Time Baxter. I would, if I was WWE, that would be a question I'd be asking. I mean, yeah, I heard that I didn't hear they'd done it on NXT. But if I'm WWE right now, I'm asking, you know, is there a Dynamite advert that's going to be played, a Collision advert that's going to be played during SmackDown? Like, I'd want that answer now. And yeah, you're right. WWE won't be thrilled. It's a cheeky little gimmick thing, innit? It's a cheeky little thing that'll get some wrestling fans talking. Free promotion, innit? Well, it's not free, but just getting the ad played during Raw and NXT not only means that people will see the ad, but wrestling fans will talk about it, will speculate about it. So all the chatter on Twitter about that happening, that's the free promotion for Collision. This is where Tony and AEW can use the fans to promote the show for them. Shoulder up by MJF. How did that happen? Says Ovio and Radiant. I honestly, I don't know. I don't know. You would think it couldn't. You'd think it couldn't. You would think that USA Network have got plenty of people that want to advertise on their stations. They've had a relationship with WWE going back to the 1980s. So I can't understand why anyone at USA Network would think that promoting a rival wrestling show, why that would be acceptable. Don't know. I really don't know. Clearly, I feel like someone effed up, to be honest. I feel like someone really effed up. And I don't really understand how it could only be one person that effed up, because there must be quite a few people involved. Unless it's, I mean, it can't be an exterior company that looks after that. I would imagine that's all in-house. I would imagine that is USA Network that look after, you know, who's advertising. Shot coming in by MJF. MJF has got Adam Cole. He's looking for a DDT on the edge of the ring. Oh, actually, he goes for a tombstone pile driver. Tombstone pile driver by MJF. Holy shit, as we go to commercial break. Brenton said, you mentioned AEW might need a change in Booker. Let's open that conversation again. Who would you pick? I would go Delirious from Ring of Honor, Jeff Jarrett, maybe Dutch Mantel. Long shot would be Cornette. Honestly, I can't say because I would need to know what their ideas are. You know, I think you would need to sit down with them during the interview process and kind of flesh out what their thoughts are. Like, tell me what you think of the current product. Tell me what you think the problems are with the current product. Tell me what you would change. Tell me what new, fresh ideas you've got. And then you would take it from there. I mean, people that have booked for other promotions, like the names that you've just listed, would absolutely be in the running for an interview. But I can't say, yeah, just get Delirious. Yeah, go and get Jeff Jarrett. Like, make him Booker. Because honestly, I mean, it's 2023. It's 2023, and I really don't know if what the ideas they've got are things that, if I'm Tony Khan, I don't know that they're things that I believe in. I don't, I'd be very interested to know their thoughts. And as I said, WWE have gone down the road of getting TV writers. I don't know their names. But, I would be interested in bringing in a load of TV people and interviewing them as well. Tell me about the products. Tell me what you think needs to change. Tell me ideas you've got. And just go through the interview process. The Bloodline is going to be over when Jay turns on Roman this Friday or at Money in the Bank, said Tribal Chief. Dutch Mantel is a joke, says Sean. Tony Khan should sign Vince Russo for Dynamite. We the People was a horrible catchphrase. That was a horrible catchphrase. Owner of Earth said that troll must be new at this. I own all that he said in this comment. I don't think Cornette would ever touch AEW, said Alistair. I don't think so either. And also, you've got to think, if you did bring in Cornette, what's that going to mean for the fan base? I mean, if you bring in Jim Cornette, who's spent like how many years laying into the products, what's that going to mean for the fans that are fans right now? The fans right now like the products. Otherwise, they wouldn't buy tickets, would they? The people that are there right now, the 800,000 that tune in each week, they're the fans that enjoy the products. If you went and got Jim Cornette, you are seriously going to pee off a lot of those fans, I would imagine. I mean, Jim Cornette has got to be enemy number one for a lot of these fans. So I don't know how that would play. What you could do, if you really wanted to try and attract new eyes, fresh eyes, is you could use Jim as a silent consultant so that people don't know that he's actually working for you. And you basically pay him to stay quiet. He can still do his podcast. But use him as a silent consultant where he just gives you feedback on each show. I mean, in all fairness, he's pretty much doing that on his podcast anyway. But, you could maybe get him to flesh it out in a bit more of a detailed report rather than just, point out the botches and whatever. Just like actually talk about where the direction people should be going or what he should be doing. If you got a detailed report back from Jim Cornette on maybe a weekly basis, maybe a couple of times a month, whatever, that could actually be quite an interesting perspective to get, couldn't it? Wouldn't upset the fans because the fans wouldn't know about it. Whether Jim would do that, I have no idea. But honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if he would. I wouldn't be surprised if he had agreed to do that. Kept on the quiet. AEW and him signed some. I mean, they've had conversations before, which he's been open about. Crossface being applied by Adam Cole. Crossface being applied by Adam Cole. But that would just be an interesting perspective to get. You might be able to take something from that feedback. Now we've got MJF, who's pulling back on the arm here of Adam Cole. Adam Cole rolling through. Now an ankle lock being applied by Adam Cole, middle of the ring. How long are we into this match? 20-odd minutes into this match. I would imagine this is definitely going to keep people around. This feels like a big part in this match. So we was at commercial break. We came back from commercial break. Now we've got MJF reversing the position. Adam Cole is down in the middle of the ring, and MJF is pulling back on his head. He's got the arm trapped as well. Adam Cole chants from the fans. Adam Cole trying to get over to the ropes. And again, pulling back on the arm. And foot on the rope there by Adam Cole. So Adam Cole gets over to the ropes. Referee comes in looking to break that holds. This match continuing. Wrestle with Andy, shout out to you. Said, do you think the build to London will start soon? Maybe. I mean, they've got to build Forbidden Door, haven't they? So I don't know if there'll be matches out of Forbidden Door that go into London. I would imagine that's probably the case. I would imagine that a lot of the feuds we're seeing will be feuds that we do get in London and get at Forbidden Door as well, because it's all quite close, I believe. So yeah, we've got to get past Forbidden Door first. So because that's going to use a lot of New Japan stars, there's no guarantee all of those will be at London. So I think get past Forbidden Door and then we'll have a look at it. But we might have started. It would be like when Cornette booked Ring of Honor back in 2011. Just let the fans, he's off creative, change nothing and watch them say everything is great. Yeah. I think if you tell the AEW fans that Jim Cornette's booking, I think you would get a lot of backlash. Because as you said, enemy number one. But if you was to get like detailed reports from him, constructive detailed reports, like, this was good, this was bad, this sucked, I would have done this, you should have done this, blah, 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 for each segment, broken down. And as I said, he does a lot of that during his podcast anyway, but I'm sure there's things he can flesh out. There's segments that I'm sure he just normally skips over because he said he doesn't want to watch them, like a lot of the ladies' matches or whatever, the women's matches. But then, yeah, if you was getting that report from him, there could be some quick wins in there. There could be some stuff where you go, do you know what? That's really not a problem to do. That ain't gonna really offend anyone. It's a good idea, and we could absolutely do that. And so it could be a way of just tightening a few things, I think that would, I don't think there'd be an issue with that. Elbow drop from MJF from the top to the outside on top of Adam Cole, who goes through a table. So Adam Cole driven through a table by MJF. Holy chants. We've also had "This is awesome" chants. I mean, what I will say is, considering this is a TV match, it is very good. It is very good. It's got a bit of a pay-per-view feel to it. AEW chants breaking out as well. Elbow drops. Not often you see an elbow from the top through a competitor on the announce table on free-to-air television. These two really going at each other. MJF stumbling his way back into the ring. So MJF definitely feeling the effects, but he's down in the middle of the ring, and I think he's hoping that this is going to result in Adam Cole being counted out. Ref counting away. So Adam Cole is still down. We're up to 5. I can't get up, said Adam Cole. I can't get up. 6. 7. He's trying to roll over. I mean, he will get in the ring, but he is making it look quite labored. Where's he gone? There he is. The camera couldn't find him. It's like, where is he? Oh, there. And he makes it. He makes it 9.9. The match continues. MJF can't believe it. I don't know what the time limit is on this. TV matches, are they normally half an hour? Are we going to get to a time limit draw? I mean, we're 27 minutes into the show, and this show opened with this match. I think we've got Fight Forever chance now. So MJF on his feet. Adam Cole just managing to beat that count. Such a good spot to do during a long match like this, because if you think about it, what's he done? He's delivered an elbow to the outside, and then they've spent, probably about a minute just milking Adam Cole, slowly getting back into the ring. So it just gives them a bit of a breather. It's a good spot to do. It's credible. It works. All makes sense. Gives them a breather. MJF is fantastic, says Lance. Straight jacket suplex. Am I the only one that prefers not having too many New Japan stars on the show to promote Forbidden Door? Last year it felt a bit rushed and a bit too much New Japan. It feels like Toni has learned from that mistake, says Brenton. Yeah, to be honest, I mean, I think of the matches that have been announced, like, you don't really need the stars there. So, like, I don't think that you can really do much with Okada within a few weeks that's going to get people that don't know him excited to see him. Having that video package of Danielson in the desert, basically calling out Okada. It's just great. Brilliant. I mean, it's done. It doesn't really need a build. If you know, you know. If you don't, well, you'll find out, won't you? I don't think there's much you can do in a few weeks. And I think the history is already there for Ospreay and Omega. Roll up by Adam Cole. Referee goes down, so MJF kicks out. Adam Cole gets launched into the referee. MJF is going to the outside. He's going over. He wants the championship belt. It's down on the floor. He grabs the title belt. MJF is down on the outsides. Gets into the ring. Adam Cole trying to get back up to his feet. Referee still down. He's going to look to use the belt. He throws the belt at Adam Cole. Throw the belt away. Throw the belt away. Don't hold the belt. Referee goes down. So the ref hasn't come back around. So that's a nice little swerve. I like that. So basically, MJF has just given Adam Cole a weapon. The ref is still down. Now MJF is panicked. You effed up chant from the crowds. Adam Cole wallops MJF with the title. Knee pad comes down. Against the ropes goes Adam Cole. Last shot, back of the head. MJF goes down. Referee finally getting round to his feet. He looks over, makes the count. 2. And shoulder up by MJF. That was such a slow count. That was so slow. That count was like a minute. So, kick out by MJF. Lovely little swerve there from Adam Cole and MJF with the belt thing. I must admit, like, we've seen that a lot in WWE. I don't know if we've seen it loads in AEW, where it's the Eddie spot in it. So for them to put a little twist on it, it's nice. That's nice. Really good match. Really good contest. Some interesting ideas in it as well. MJF down as Adam Cole goes against the ropes, but MJF just slumps down. That means that Adam Cole can't connect with the knee. MJF is down. So, again, are we looking at a time? I don't know what the time limit draw is. I don't know when the time's up in the match. MJF grabs a hold of the ref. There's a low blow. The ref wouldn't have seen it. So, low blow by MJF. Ref wouldn't have seen it because he had grabbed the ref as he did it. MJF goes down. Referee comes over to check on Adam Cole. Why isn't that a DQ? He didn't see it. Diamond ring has been put on now by MJF. I do think, though, this is where wrestling is... I don't know if it's getting a bit outdated now. Kick by Adam Cole. Referee takes the ring off MJF. Adam Cole goes up, looking for Panama Sunrise. Gets it. Panama Sunrise connects. Cole goes against the ropes. Knee straight to the back of the head. Trying to turn him over. 1, 2. And the bell sounds. Time limit draw. Why didn't they announce how much time was left? Time limit. 1, 2, and the bell is rung. So we do get to the time limit draw. Oh, well, thanks for telling us. Thanks for telling us that we were getting towards the end of the time limit. Could you imagine if AEW ran a pub and you're having a drink with your mates and everything, and then all of a sudden it's like, ding, ding, right, that's it, get out. What? Do you mean last order? No, get out. No, sure, last orders, yeah? We got 10 minutes. No, go. Get out. Put your drink down. Get out. That's it. Done. Adam Cole says 5 more minutes. Imagine you're in the middle of on the dance floor singing away, having a great time. Lights go up. Right, thanks a lot for coming, guys. Please make your way to the exits. Hang on, what? So, MJF, Adam Cole. MJF slides out the ring. Adam Cole wanted 5 more minutes. MJF is like, nah, mate. I've already done way more work than I wanted to. I'm off. So Adam Cole wanted 5 more minutes. The crowd wanted 5 more minutes. Good match. A lot going on at the end. But for 36 minutes of opening to Dynamite, yeah, take that all day, every day. Defcon Eric said, this is what AEW was always supposed to be. James said, I think MJF doesn't get enough credit for his in-ring work. All I see is people saying he's just a promo, which is clearly not true. Did you see Nails doing a sign-in? He's not done anything since retiring. Yeah, man, I'd go see Nails. I've said so many times, one of my very, very first memories is a police officer against a prisoner. That prisoner was Nails. So, and I can't see the boss man because he's sadly no longer with us. So that is right in my wheelhouse. If Nails was coming to a local fan convention, I'd be there, man. I'd go see Nails. That is some pretty strong nostalgia vibes. He could be a horrific individual. Do you remember that great story of him? Did he actually hit Vince? I know that he was in a room with Vince going mental. Wasn't happy with his SummerSlam pay. I believe this was around Survivor Series. He was in a room with Vince going mental, not happy with the pay he received for SummerSlam 92. And accused Vince of sexual assault. Apparently, Vince somehow sexually did something to Nails. I don't know what or how during this meeting. So he made this, which I can only imagine is a load of rubbish, accusation. And, obviously he ended up losing his job and everything. We haven't heard from him since. This WWE certainly don't want anything to do with him. But, yeah, I don't know. He could be mental. He could be a weirdo. I have no idea what he's been up to. He could, could legit be quite dangerous. I don't know. Just makes it more intriguing. MJF needs to not cry and work on the belt. Roman be at 2,000 days before someone gets the range over. Brenton said, good way for the babyface to have a gripe. Would have beaten him with a few more minutes. Good move. I would have had MJF win with a screwy finish, but not a bad idea with a time limit draw. Alex said, how are you wearing a beanie? It's not that hot. It's hot in the day, but at night, obviously, it cools down. It's also, we're down in the basement, so it's even cooler down here. So it actually doesn't get hot down here at all. There's times where I'm sat here working away, and I'll go upstairs and it's roasting. And I'll be like, do you know what? I'm going back downstairs. It's too hot, man. It's too hot. It's lovely and cool down here. Felix said, Misfits, drop the next card. The main event says Survivor Tag. Oh, it went. Felix. Oh, there it is. Survivor Tag, but it looks like a fatal 4-way. Thoughts on a new match type? Looks like a fatal 4-way. No, I don't want multiple people in the ring boxing at the same time. Tag match I'm all right with. We watched the tag boxing match, which got a lot of boxing purists upset. But as a fan of pro wrestling, I don't mind tag team stuff. So tag team boxing, I can get with. The only thing, and it worked, it was fine. The only thing is that moment where you have to tag. If you're getting, someone's punching on you and you're trying to make the tag, that's a little messy. We said, maybe if there was a part of the ring right in the corner that if you just get to it, the tag is automatic. And then the ref comes in and separates both competitors and allows the change to happen clean. I really can't see the problem with it. I can't see any problem with that. I know people will be like, yeah, well, what about if you've got one guy that can't tag and he's just getting smashed? Well, the ref can always stop the fight. It's no different to any other fight. But the idea that you're having to fight a few people at the same time, that just seems reckless, dangerous to me. That's I can't defend that. If it's going to be a tag situation again, though, where there's still only 2 in the ring, I can vibe with that. I've got no problem with that. The tag match I thought worked really well. But if it's going to be multiple people in the ring, that's dangerous. I can't defend that. I can't, what am I meant to say? No, it's fine. Yeah, you might be fighting someone might just smack you in the side of the head. You might get horrific brain, damage. But I'm sure it'll be fine. Here's Sammy. Sammy. Beanies are less effective during heat. They prevent heat from leaving, which is why they're warm in colds. But they're not that bad when it's warm, since you have hair anyway, says Aubrey Edwards. That's an interesting point. Is Sammy. We've not seen you since you were so close to becoming our new AEW World Champion. Where are you at? He's very tanned. Been a hell of a ride. From the highest to highs. Are they trying to turn him face? They're having a go. Talking about experiencing the lowest of the lows. The goal has always been the same. He said he wants his baby girl in one arm and the AEW World Championship in the other. Is this Darby? Darby's coming out. So Sammy in the ring, Darby coming out. Let's see what Darby's got to say. Spitting some water like Triple H. Sammy and Darby. Why is AEW making Adam Cole bigger superstar like never did in NXT? Should go onto the main roster. They wanted him on the main roster, but I think he was concerned that if he went to the main roster, I don't know if it's A or E. It's A. Yeah, they wanted him. They wanted him on the main roster. But he was concerned at the time that Vince hasn't got the best of track records with booking the smaller guys, has he? Here's Darby. It sounds like the people are starting to love you again, says Darby. There's a sign that says here for Sammy. I got a question. Are you going to stand on your own 2 feet or live in the shadow of the JAS? You don't have to answer my question right now, but I think I know the answer. I really like Sammy's shirt, you know. Sammy has got a really nice shirt on. Shirt looks great. Here's Jericho Appreciation Society. Wow, here's Jericho. Sammy did leave the JAS, says Bryson. You misspelled Darby. Did I? I thought it is an A, isn't it? Moment of truth for Sammy. Okay, crowd singing Judas, of course, as Jericho makes his way down. Shut them. Oh, thank you. You need to stand there and shut your mouth and mind your own business, says Jericho to Darby. So Jericho comes over to Sammy. Sammy and Jericho face to face. Now Sammy It's just you and me. The whole 3 months. You never called me once. You never asked me to help you once. The guy that brought you in, the guy that made you a star, says Jericho. If you'd have asked for Chris Jericho's help, you'd be standing here right now as AEW World Champion. Big claim. Big claim. Why didn't you call me? Because maybe if you did, you wouldn't have lost to Adam Cole. Twice. Maybe you're having delusions of grandeur, says Jericho. I'm going to give you another chance to apologize now. Going to give you another chance to apologize now. Sammy said he's not apologizing for anything. Sort of different language, but Jericho 25 years later. Cena shirt in the crowds. Maybe it's Cena. Ba-ba-da-ba. Language. Let's have a tag match next week so you remember who your boss really is. You call yourself a wizard? But when you step in this ring, the magic is gone, says Darby. You sure you want this? Sure you want to challenge Chris Jericho? Maybe Sammy and I should beat you right here, right now. Darby says, I'm not alone, and that's going to bring out Sting. That's literally the only thing he's good for. Do your thing, Tony. Do your thing. Do the thing. It's Sting. Sting making his way down to the ring. He's still cool, isn't he? So cool still seeing Sting. Sting and Jericho. Apparently the first time they've been in the ring against each other. That is a moment. First time they've been in the ring. Jericho against Sting. Yeah. Jericho's got his bat, pushes it in the throat of Sting. Sting has got a little smirk on his face. He gets his bat, puts it in the throat of Jericho. Yeah, I'm here for this. I'm definitely here for this. Would it be too much to ask for a one-on-one match? Or do you reckon they'll do like a tag thing? Jericho gets out the ring. That was cool. I like Sting, says David. It's Sting! The old guy with the black with the bat versus the old guy in black with the bats. Dream match. Coming up next is going to be that match. I can't remember, what are they called? They're called the Summit. Embassy? Mogul Embassy. Have I got to type all this out now? Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, Sting, Keith Lee. Right. Mogul Embassy versus, who is it? OC, Keith, Sting, Darby. That'll do. Why is that so small? There we go. Right. You can't deny this Dynamite has been fire. It's been good. It has been good. It's been so far one of the best Dynamites I've seen in a long time. Yeah. Brenton said Ty Conti was what helped Sammy be a great heel. Now with her being pregnant, he is now getting to be a great babyface. She is the key. Oh, I just saw an Embassy graphic, but we're still at commercial break, so I don't know if the Embassy are making their way out to the ring now, but a Mogul Embassy graphic just showed up on Fight TV. So that could have just been a technical glitch, or I don't know if it was like a shot from the arena of them like having their entrance. There's maybe a chance Mogul Embassy will already be in the ring when we get back. Right. Jordan said, here again, had a busy day. Have I missed anything? Not loads, actually. I mean, you missed a long match between Adam Cole and MJF, which was good. Ended in a time limit draw. So we don't know what's happening there. Then we just got an interview with Sammy. And basically, it looks like his turning face. Jericho came down to confront him. Says, let's do a tag match. You need to remember who your boss is. Darby was in the ring as well. Then Sting came out. And now we're heading to this. This Mogul Embassy match. So, to be honest, the first 35 minutes was all that Adam Cole MJF match. But aren't you doing another throwback stream? No plans at the moment. I think we could do old school throwback stream, but that's not really where my focus is at the moment. I'm working on these like little short videos that I enjoy doing. So any spare time I'm getting, I'm kind of dedicating to those. What did Sting in WWE? Sonada, IWGP heavyweight champion. I plan to show the world the strength of an IWGP champion. At Forbidden Door, there will be an open challenge for the IWGP heavyweight championship. I look forward to seeing who steps up. AEW roster, I'm waiting for your reply. Wow. I like that. Open challenge for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Sonada is ready. Mogul Embassy were already out there. Yeah, I like that. Who's going to answer that? Who's going to answer that? Here's Orange Cassidy. What's the halftime score? I'm around a 7-5-8, maybe a bit higher, says Mitchell. About 7-5. Yeah, about 7-5. Too many titles, says Bilal. Sonada looks so different. He looks really good. As far as what Collision would look like, I'm hoping for a similar stage. Ring with white ropes and a red ring skirt. Red ring skirt, I could definitely see. AEW Collision logo on the skirt. AEW logo in the ring. Brighten it up the show a bit. Yeah, I think that's in line, yeah. It's nice because I like your idea of the white ropes because that count as the black ropes for Dynamite. I can see red, yellow color scheme just based on the Collision logo. So red ring skirt or a yellow ring skirt. I could see either of those. Brian Cage has got like Warrior Legion of Doom type face paint on, which I really like. We were talking about face paint the other day, and I can't remember who for. Why is the word no on screen? The word no. Did you have that? Did you have that? I just had the word no on screen. We are underway. Sting is looking to charge over. Yeah, there was someone, and we were like, oh, could you imagine if they had a little bit of... Oh, I think it was Ronda and Shayna. I think it was it Ronda and Shayna? I think it was them two. And we were looking at different face paint designs. Brian Cage, he's gone full-on old-school warlord, didn't he? You could take Brian Cage, put him in the 1980s WWF, and he would look bang in place. Love it. Love it. Defcon Eric said, did they get rid of Parker Boudreaux? I honestly don't know. I don't know where he lives. I don't know if he's on Ring of Honor's roster. Certainly he's not part of Swerve's group. Swerve's all in this Mogul Embassy now. I'll tell you what, there's a lot going on here. We've got Darby Allin being chucked onto a top turnbuckle. I think these are the Gates of Agony, aren't they? The Gates of Agony. There is Warlord. Warlord has got Darby Allin. He's looking for a big suplex in the ring. I love him with that face paint. It's giving me all kinds of nostalgic feels. In the corner, driving his shoulder into the midsection. It's quite Sting-esque as well, actually. It's kind of like Surfer Sting. Even looks like he's got a bit of a Sting pattern on the side of his gear. In fact, is it? Is that what it is? Is that what it is? It's only just clicked that I think he might be doing Sting. Because that looks like a scorpion on the side of his ring gear. I think he is. I think he is taking the mick out of Sting. Gates of Agony. I think it's an ode to Sting's original face paint, said Rivy. I think you're absolutely right. I only just noticed the scorpion on the side of his ring gear. I think Brian Cage is making fun of the Sting 80s paints. I agree. I think you're right. I love it, though. He should keep it. It works for him, man. I love it. I mean, maybe not the scorpion on the ring gear. Maybe that's a little bit too close to home. But James said Switchblade against Sonada at Forbidden Door. That'd be a great match. That'd be a great match. I want to see Sting get in there with Brian Cage then and kind of look him up and down and look a bit confused. That's what I want to see. Orange Cassidy on the outside, hitting the top turnbuckle, trying to get the crowd fired up. And we got Swerve pulling back on the nose of Darby Allin. Do you know, I mean, it's little things like that. They just really help. Like this, I said beforehand, this is the match I was probably least excited for, just because there's so much going on. You know, you've got Darby, you've got Sting, Orange Cassidy. I don't know where Keith Lee's come from. I don't really know how this match has come together. But just little things like Brian Cage doing that has just made it like fun and accessible. And actually, the match itself is good, fast-paced. And Orange Cassidy making the save. Garcia watching on backstage. Cage coming over and tagging in Swerve. Dynamite so far does not feel like a show that will do another 800,000. I reckon it'll do 950, 980. No sports tonight. Maybe they're trying to capitalize on that. I mean, I've got to think if you tuned into Dynamite and if you tuned into Dynamite and you're greeted with Adam Cole MJF, I think there's a good chance you're sticking around for that match, because I think a lot of us thought that would be the main event. So, I mean, there's every chance they've kept a healthy number for the first half hour. Then we went into the next segment, which had Jericho. It had Sammy and Darby there. For AEW fans, pretty big. But then, Sting comes out. Jericho comes out. So you'd imagine that I reckon you'll see a decline. But should keep some people around. A healthy amount. And then now we've gone straight into this match. This is Sting in action. Darby in action. I don't know if Keith Lee's going to do a great deal, but Orange Cassidy obviously is very popular with the AEW fan base. So I've got to think that, again, I think there could be a little decline. I think we'll see nice numbers for Adam Cole MJF. I think we'll take a little bit of a step down for the promo segment. Maybe another step down for this match. But I don't think they're going to be big declines. I mean, I agree. I think we're going to be in that 900,000 range. I think we've been in that for the past 2 weeks. If there's no sports and they've done a good job of putting some big names in the first hour, and we've still got elite Blackpool Combat Club to come. Yeah, this could pick up a 900 some rating. Swerve, double stomp on Keith Lee. Keith Lee goes down. 1, 2, 2 count. To the outside goes Darby Allin. Orange Cassidy is trying to clear house. Big boot to Swerve. Around the houses into a DDT. Big DDT. Kept up there by Orange Cassidy. Takes the elbow pads. Gets caught by 1980s Sting. Gets planted. Darby Allin with a drop kick. 1980s Sting goes to the outside. Darby is caught by one of the gates of agony. I don't know if that's gates or if it's agony. But an inverted atomic drop. I would say is in agony right now as modern day Sting backs up in the corner. Big boot to the midsection of Gates. Agony is down. Sting gets hurled against the ropes. Big collision in the corner. Modern day Sting is down. So Gates of Agony working well together. There's Keith Lee. Keith Lee collides into Gates. Agony comes over. Keith Lee grabs him, dumps him. Belly to bellies. Chucks him over the top rope. Oh, man, I tell you what, the ref has just look at the ref. He's lost complete control here. Complete control. I don't know what the rules are. I don't know if this is a tornado tag. It doesn't really matter. It's just a big fun mess. But we are seeing multiple men competing at the same time. Sting's in the ring. Oh my God, it's modern day Sting and 1980s Sting. Oh, imagine if Brian Cage does a Scorpion Death Drop to modern day Sting. That would be awesome. Scorpion Death Drop by modern Sting to 80s Sting. Oh, and modern Sting just pinned 80s Sting to get the victory. Toni says, God, I love pro wrestling. That was wild. Orange Cassidy, Keith Lee, modern day Sting, and Darby Allin with Dustin Rhodes in their corner, picking up the victory. It's Stink. Who in a wrestler has got a best wrestling trademark? What company is the best? Destroyed a Philly cheesesteak. Well, what company is the best is Dan's personal preference, isn't it? Who's got the best trademark? Don't know, like. Okay, so we got the Guns backstage. What's your relationship with Jay White? Guns are like, we don't know what you're on about. We're going to talk. We don't like to talk about other people. We're going to talk about something that actually matters. Us. Okay, so looks like the Guns want to get their hands on the Hardys. We're going to prove we're the best brother tag team in AEW. The Guns have really, really grown on me a lot. I mean, I never didn't like them, but I just see them as a really good, really credible tag team. Now, and actually, I'd love to see. I think we did see a match between them and FTR, but a feud with them and FTR. I think would be really fun. Here's Wardlow. You missed the Punk video package. He said he's got a lot of stuff to get off his chest this Saturday on Collision. Oh, where was that? When did that happen? Where was that? I didn't see that at all. Jumped by Mr. Hat. Yes, Hager against Wardlow. We are underway with this one. Boom. I think it would look cool for Collision if the floor mats would be white too. Always like when WCW had the white mats with the flames on them. Yeah, changing the floor mats, I agree. Guns are better than varsity bonds. Rivy said, we the people. Did you hear the rules for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match? No. There's, what, different rules? You missed it, clearly. Yes. Will you be streaming Collision on Saturday? No. Days, should Jack Swagger be in the Hall of Fame? He's a former world champion. I think former world champions should go into the Hall of Fame. I think for that moment in time, you was deemed to be the guy. Now, I would say that Jack Swagger, Jinder Mahal, there's probably a couple of others as well that you would say are really the bottom end of that list, the bottom end of that ladder. But there was a time where I think they really believed in him and really thought that he could go on to achieve some stuff. To the point where they put the world title on him. He was around for a little while. And as a former world champion, I think, considering that we've put Queen Shamel in, right? Considering that we've put Queen Shamel in, I think I would put in Jack Swagger. Yeah. I think I would put in Jack Swagger. I think if you have been given a world championship, you have basically been given the ball. I can't remember how long he was world champion for. I don't think it was very long. Have a look, see what he's achieved. 41 years old. WWE. One-time ECW champion, one-time heavyweight champion, one-time United States champion, former Money in the Bank winner. I don't know how long he held that title for. Not that it makes a difference. I mean, maybe if it was a day or something, it might make a difference, but He held it for 79 days. So he held it for just over 2 months. Just over 2 months. It's tricky in it because if you go down the list, so World's Heavyweight Championship, top 24. I mean, I don't know if this is everyone. But we've got Triple H, fine. Batista, fine. Edge, fine. Alberto Del Rio, fine. Sheamus, fine. Undertaker, fine. CM Punk, fine. Chris Benoit, no. John Cena, fine. Kane, fine. Mysterio, fine. Orton, fine. Booker, fine. Jericho, fine. Bryan, fine. Mark Henry, fine. Goldberg, fine. Kurt Angle, fine. Big Show, fine. Dolph Ziggler, fine. Great Khali, fine. Christian, fine. Jeff Hardy, fine. Shawn Michaels, fine. There's absolutely no problems there, other than Benoit because of what happens. Jack Swagger, I'd say, is the bottom of that list. I'd actually say he was the bottom, the one you would go. But considering Queen Shamel went in and, a few others, I keep coming back to Coco Beware because I don't know. What did Coco Beware ever achieve? Did he get anything in WWE? Nothing. I mean, literally, the only thing he did in WWE is go in the Hall of Fame. He did a few other bits, though, outside of WWE. Maybe they're just classing everything, Maybe they're classing not just his WWE run, but his run with other companies. But equally, if you're going to do that, then you could technically include all this that Jake Hager's doing with AEW as well. Wardlow in control. Rob Van Dam was the worst. They killed his push after he got busted with weed. The new rules is that they can cash it in on the Intercontinental or United States, says Jordan. Horrific. I don't think that's a new rule. Because Theory did that last year, didn't he? But it's horrific. It shouldn't be a thing. Hager plants Wardlow, looking for the pin. Shoulder up. Will Roman beat Ray in Cincinnati this Saturday to retain the undisputed Universal Championship? Will Roman beat Ray this Saturday? What's that? A house show? Yes. Yes, he will. Glock Anderson, I sent the thing to you. I didn't see this. I didn't see this at all. I'll have to watch it after because of copyright. But wonder what he will say. If he said he's got stuff to say, like, you don't want to drag all that up. Apparently there was rumors he wanted to apologize. There was rumors that he wanted to actually clear the air and everything. Wonder if he apologizes. People might tune in thinking that he's going to vent and rant and all this, but he might do the opposite. Because there was rumors he was willing to apologize for his part in it. Wardlow picks up the win over Jake Hager. Defcon Eric said, do you think there will be tag Money in the Bank match one day? Yeah, why not? Can't see any reason why not. I suppose I'm quite surprised we haven't done it already. It's a bit like, will there be a tag team like Royal Rumble one day? I always thought that would be a good thing to do on like a go home show or a post Rumble show. The Raw after the Royal Rumble. You wouldn't do it at the Rumble. That's too many Rumbles. But could you do a little something on like the Raw after the Rumble for tag teams? Yeah, why not? Right, we've got Wardlow in the ring. Christian's on screen. Oh, Christian is going to say a few things. Is Luchasaurus and Christian. We accept your challenge. Collision. What's going to happen when your new daddy isn't there to save you this time? Oh, there's Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson's busted open in the backstage area. So Arn Anderson's got blood coming all down his face. So Christian and Luchasaurus attacking Arn Anderson, and Wardlow goes running to the back. Couldn't quite make out what he said there. He said about collision. Oh. Tanahashi, who's he facing? MJF. MJF against Tanahashi? Last year at Forbidden Door, I came this close to beating Moxley for the AEW title. So this year at Forbidden Door, MJF faced me one-on-one. Woo. Wow. You against Tanahashi has now been made official. Come again? Sorry, what? I'm going to say no to that one, says MJF. Tanahashi, no can do. So he said, as far as Tony Khan booking me, it wouldn't be the first time I've no-showed for a matchup, so Tanahashi, no can do. I think I would have liked MJF not to have took that approach, actually. MJF there says that he doesn't want to do it because Tanahashi is from a rinky-dink company, an outsider. Don't fancy it. I think I'd much rather see him trying to make up an excuse as to why kind of putting Tanahashi over. Like, yeah, I'm fairly sure I'm busy that day. Like, I can't do that match. I would love to, you know, oh my God, a legend, absolute legend. I mean, but I can't make it. There's no way. I'll just like come up with something. I think I would have preferred him to have took that approach, but because I don't know how thrilled New Japan will be at being called a rinky-dink company. But it is a very MJF comment. I tell you, I mean, it's been a very solid, very tight show tonight. There's not been any. I've not been bored for a second. There's not been any part of it that's not been enjoyable. I don't know. I mean, feels like they've really put together a really fun show tonight. So good. Just what they needed to do as we're approaching this very important period for them. What with Forbidden Door coming up and Wembley coming up especially, you know. MJF should have said he's getting his hair dyed that day. What if MJF came out to Running with the Devil music, says Roddy. Well, he does come out in his devil attire, doesn't he? So as long as they can get clearance and everything, then can't see why they can't. Christian Cage, was he better than Impact? WWE, AEW is best storyline. I didn't watch Impact, so I can't comment. Lethal and Jarrett against Mark and his dad, Poppy, the Briscoe and Aubrey Edwards mixed intergender trios match was made for Friday. Rampage, says Adam. Adam, shout out to you. Higurashi said this means the match is happening because Tony is going to book it and say if he doesn't show up, he's fired. You're fired. Brenton said the CM Punk video was insane. Juan said they do London together as WWE and other place or just this time. I don't know. So I think it could just be this time, but Tanahashi, I would argue, is a big enough New Japan legend. I mean, he's one of the biggest names in the history of New Japan. He's definitely big enough to make an appearance at that London show. Tanahashi being there, that'd be very special. So they could do the rematch in London, but it's probably just a one-time deal. What does the future hold for Orange Cassidy? Probably about now. Someone's going to walk in and challenge me. That's an interesting belt. Next Sunday, that's So I feel like they need to tell people this is Zack Sabre Jr. Belt is really interesting. I don't think they've mentioned his name. There's been no graphic or anything. Okay, so it's going to be Zack and Garcia against Orange Cassidy and Shibata next week on Dynamite. Okay. Right, Sky Blue. Sky Blue against Toni Storm. This is for a world title match as well. So this is a world title match. Sky Blue won the opportunity to compete for this championship. Is that Mama Blue? Okay, so Sky Blue in the ring. Sky Blue is fire, literally, said AB Jobson. We are 2 weeks and 3 days away from Money in the Bank at O2 Arena in London. Okay, here's Tony. Like I don't think I've seen that New Japan belt. Can't recall seeing it. Really interesting. Great to see Zack Sabre in AEW. Did we see him last year? I don't think we did we? I can't remember seeing Zack Sabre in AEW before. I know him and Danielson is a match we're bound to get at some point. Just seemingly not this year, unfortunately. But who knows? Maybe next year. Here's Toni Storm. Getting in the ring then. So Ruby has come down with a little cutout of Saraya. We haven't seen Saraya in a little while. This is for the AEW Women's World Championship. Toni Storm charging over at Sky Blue. Sky Blue moves out the way. Sky Blue unloads some forearms on Toni. Kick coming in there by Sky Blue. Another kick coming in. Shots coming into the back as Toni goes over in the corner. Chops there by Sky Blue. Forearm strike by Sky Blue as well. Sky Blue, all kinds of fired up. Charges over, gets dumped to the outsides. And she kicks the cutout that Ruby was holding. Ruby goes down. Sky Blue goes up. Little bit wobbly, but she gets the crossbody. And only gets a 2 count. Sky Blue is on her feet, going against the ropes, charging over at Toni. Toni moves out the way. Sky Blue gets caught on the ropes, gets dumped to the outsides. Toni goes against the ropes. Toni was looking for like a hip attack, but Sky Blue moved out the way. Sky Blue gets the hip attack, though, and it's Toni that spills to the outsides. I think is that Sky Blue's mom is calling Ruby a loser. Ah, she sprays some at Sky Blue's mom. Is that the green paint? Guy is going suicide dive. Check on your mum, Sky. Check on your mum. Your mum's just been sprayed in the face with green paint. Go over, just be like, are you all right? Oh, Mum, are you all right? I'm so sorry. I'll get these, Mum. I'll get these for you. None of that. Into a chair in the corner. Toni charging over. Hip attack to Sky Blue, who was sat against the railings. So Toni in control as Sky Blue slumps down. Toni flexing as she's standing on Sky Blue's head. Sky is being draped over the railings. She gets chucked back in the ring. We're up to a count of 8. The count is broken. What did they spray at her? Was it just that stuff that Brandon Cutler uses? Like that mist? Because the mum's fine now. I thought they'd sprayed like the green paint and the mum was going to be like... Checked over in the corner. What's the likelihood of Danielson versus Nigel at All In? Is Nigel fully healthy? I don't know. I really don't think... I think he said that he was. I think he said that he was able to compete again. But, I mean, there's been no... What does he even do in AEW? I mean, he's on commentary, isn't he? I haven't seen any sort of talk of him, like, coming back into the ring. It might be something that Danielson, you know, fights for and wants to get one more match with Nigel McGuinness, but... I don't know. I feel like that feels unlikely. I think it'll come down to if Danielson wants it. If Danielson wants it, he might be able to make it happen. Toni looking for a suplex to Sky Blue. You saw Zack Sabre last year. It was meant to be him and Brian, but Brian was too busted up. Claudio debuted and faced Zack Sabre. Okay, thank you. Juan said, these refs, these matches are lucky and he is separating them when they brawl. Ruby on the outside. Toni walks out of WWE because of cake. Walks into AEW, spray paint massive. Forearm straight. And again. Sky Blue unloading on Toni. We've got half an hour to go. Obviously, our big main event, the Elites, taking on Blackpool Combat Club. Toni gets flipped over. She's against the ropes. Knee strike there by Sky Blue. It coming in by Sky Blue. Nice. Oh, I like that. I like that. She's good in the ring. Like, she doesn't get lost. She's got some interesting offense. Against the ropes, to the outside goes Sky Blue. Toni getting back in control as Ruby is on the outsides. Applauding Toni. These two embrace. Toni and Ruby. Toni in control, going over, grabbing Sky Blue. Hurling her back in the ring. It's a spray paint that's been handed over. Ruby is talking to the ref. Sky Blue's got her own spray paint. Super kick. Sky had her own spray paint, so she sprayed it in the face of Toni. She flips Toni over. Ruby's trying to distract. Sky's wondering why the ref's not counting. It's because Ruby is distracting. Ruby with a super kick. Down goes Sky with a super kick to Ruby. But Toni's back in control. Storm Zero connects. 1, 2. Kick out. Oh. Kick out by Sky Blue. I really thought that was it. She grabs her, puts her into Cloverleaf. Cloverleaf by Toni Storm. Do you know what? That's another example where a couple of things there, you're like, oh, man, I was really like, oh, we don't need the spray paint to be involved in this. And so the switcheroo of Sky having her own was like, okay, didn't see that come in. That's interesting. And then, obviously, she hits her with Storm Zero, and you're like, oh, that'll be it. And then it isn't. I know the ending comes very quickly after, but a couple of moments there where you're like, oh. Here's Willow. The New Japan Strong Women's World Champion, Willow. So, Toni and Ruby retreat. Willow makes her way down. Okay, so Willow saves Sky. We're backstage with Jungle Hook. The summer of Jungle Hook is in full swing. Jungle Boy said, I said I was going to win a title this year, and I meant it. Oh, okay, so he is going to accept Sonada's open challenge. You're my tag partner. More than that. You're my best friend. Feels a bit like grooming. You're my best friend. It's all a bit quick. Don't know. Right, so he said, I want you in my corner. Right, here we go. Main event time. Blackpool Combat Club and the Elites. Hook is like 50 and 0, but they never do anything with him, says Chads. Hook's more of a solo act, said Zoom Station. I was just wondering if Hook might turn on him or something might happen, because him saying you're my best friend is weird. I want you in my corner makes me think, is Hook going to be the one that's going to cost Jungle Boy? Here's that video package. Danielson and Okada. Ospreay and Omega. Forbidden Door. That's going to be, I mean, the card looks sick, doesn't it? Card looks amazing. Look at that. Bryan Danielson against Okada. And it's on a Sunday. Let's go. June 25th. Oh, my God. That's soon. Yeah. That's like a week this weekend. MJF against Tanahashi. Omega against Ospreay. Okada against Danielson. Jungle Boy Jack Perry against Sonada. With his best friend Hook in his corner. Collision, Samoa Joe, Jay White, Juice Robinson against CM Punk and FTR. Collision. There's Bullet Club Golds. So we just got a video package just hyping this up. Their best friend as well. Everyone's got a best friend. You're my best friend. I've got loads of friends, but you're the best. You're my best friend. Of all my friends, you're the best. So, playground. My best friend. Don't tell the other friends. You're the best friend. We even have best friends as a team. Hook is Jungle Boy's best friend. CM Punk is FTR's best friend. Who's Tony Khan's best friend? Don't say his dealer. Don't say his dealer. We got Sky Blue, Willow Nightingale against Tony Storm and Ruby Soho. That's happening on Collision. Luchasaurus against Wardlow. Buddy Matthews is going to take on Andrade El Idolo. So, a few matches announced for Collision. Right, here's Mitchell said Jim Cornette is Tony's best friend. K-pop, AEW are like kids on a playground. Well, here come Blackpool Combat Club. His many dealers, said Oration Mind. Irish Rebel said, you're one of my best friends. Ah, buds. Right. We've got 21 minutes 21 minutes 21 minutes left to go. David said, who's your best friends? All of you. Everyone that joins us on these streams, you're all my best friends. I can't pick one. I just have lots of best friends. Juan said, commercial during Moxley entrance is rare. Time-wise, they might be a little bit off here. They might be fine, but time-wise, I wouldn't be surprised if we were a bit behind. 20 minutes of the main event feels fine. But I do agree, going to a commercial during the Moxley entrance is quite unusual. Tony's best friend is Vince. Buddy against Andrade. Take my money, said LB. Tony Khan's best friend is Britney Spears. Oh man, she's gone off the deep end, didn't she? Have you seen some of the weird videos she's been putting up recently? Hope she's all right. We need to free Britney. Tony's best friend is Vince. Brendan said, thoughts on Jungle Boy as potential heel? Needs an overhaul. Well, maybe he attacks Hook. Perhaps like Jungle Boy loses, Hook comes in, is like, don't worry about it, and Jungle Boy starts beating him up. That best friend, I can't get over that best friend line. I know I'm probably massively reading into it, but it feels like it's there to make it seem like, oh my God, they are so close. They are basically brothers. And then boom, they turn on each other, or one turns on the other. So, yeah, I mean, listen, there's rumors that Jungle Boy's a douche in real life, so turn him heel. Turn him heel. That way, when he is a douche, it'll be in character. If he does go to fan conventions and he is a douche, people will be like, I thought he'd be like that, to be honest. I thought he'd be like that. MJF can be like that as well sometimes. Tony's best friend is the person who invented hugging. That's true. That's true. Don't bring Elmo into this. Disney buys Endeavor and AEW, says K-pop. Are you doing a watch along for the first Collision show? No. They ain't jobbers. Has AEW ever got past the time they're supposed to stop, like WWE sometimes? Oh, have they ever overrun? Yeah, I think they have overrun. I'm sure there's been some Dynamites that have gone a minute or so over, but I mean, never like 10 minutes or 15. If ever it's done that, I think it's been prearranged. To be honest, I mean, I think the network would probably just shut them off, wouldn't they? Okay, here come the Elite. Don't you cry no more. Here's the Bucks and the Hangman. What did they call them? The Hung Bucks. The Hung Bucks. I forgot about that. The Hung Bucks. Let's go. Yes. Hungman. There's no need to feel down. I said, Hungman. Get yourself off the ground and say, Hungman. The Hung Bucks. Okay, so Hangman and Moxie, of course, have had quite the rivalry, and they're just going right at it. Right at it. Now we've got the other members of Blackpool Combat Club and the Young Bucks. Are you going to watch Forbidden Door? Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely want to watch Forbidden Door. Chan says, those hats are terrible. So we got Blackpool Combat Club on the outsides. And, ooh, Wheelie Yuta planted into the side of the ring. Nick Jackson is going up top, comes crashing down onto Claudio. So the Hung Bucks are in control. Toni said this program is an all-timer for AEW. Hangman charging over. Oof. Shooting star from Hangman onto Wheelie Yuta on the outsides. Okay, so we got Wheelie Yuta down. We got the Young Bucks on the outside. We got Moxley being chucked into the ring. We got Hangman going into the ring as well. Chop coming in there by Hangman. Moxley going over into the corner. Tag. In comes Matt Jackson. He starts unloading on Moxley. Feels like this might start settling down to a bit more of a normal contest. Those are pretty wild shoes that the Young Bucks have got on. Those trainers are like, I don't know what make they are. White and black. Probably very expensive. They tend to really spend, don't they, on their footwear. Crossbody there by Nick Jackson. Claudio tries to distract. He does. Shoulder tackle through the midsection, going over the top. Oh, plants Moxley. Looking for a moonsault, gets caught by Claudio. Claudio. Oh. And Nick Jackson goes down. So we got action on the outside, action on the insides. Hangman bounces off the ropes. Lariat to Claudio. Moxley then suicide dives onto Hangman. So this thing is pretty full on as Matt Jackson goes up. Crossbody comes crashing down onto Claudio and Moxley. This has been the best show of the week for sure, says AB Jobson. James says, don't the Bucks get their footwear custom made? I don't know, to be honest. I remember their Gucci Jordans. I remember it had Gucci written on the sole, and I believe they were very, very expensive, unsurprisingly. So I know that, like, when it comes to footwear, they are no strangers to spending a bit. These could be customs. Oh, massive clothesline by Moxley. I'm not really up on my sneaker game, so I can't really tell you if this... I couldn't tell you the make. I couldn't tell you if they're customs. The only thing I can tell you is I'd imagine the referee is looking at them going... the ref's probably going, do you know what? Can vibe with them. Kicks coming in by Claudio. Bucks get shooed. Only when they use the shoes as weapons are they custom, says Brian. Juan said, if WWE is set up, but you think they let them fight, who wins? Don't know what you mean, bud. How many zebras were killed to make them? R.I.P. the zebra community. Shot to the midsection by Wheeler Yuta. So we have settled down with 10 minutes to go. There was not a video like this when Punk made his return the first time. Nothing at all. Yeah. I think, though, that it's a little different this time, isn't it? It's a little bit different this time because when he came back last time, he was returning to wrestling really for the first time in 7 years? Whereas we saw him last year, so this return doesn't feel as big as the last one, but it still feels big because obviously it's CM Punk. Obviously, we've not seen him in about a year. Obviously, when we last saw him, it was one of the most infamous incidents in modern wrestling. Maybe wrestling. I don't know. I mean, is that media scrum incident from AEW going to be remembered alongside the Montreal Screwjob? Maybe it will. I don't think it's Montreal Screwjob level, but I don't know. I don't know how history will remember it. But I feel, comfortable in saying that it's one of the most infamous moments in modern wrestling. So, him coming back from that, it's all a little bit different, isn't it? So, but it's true they didn't announce him when he first returned, but it was heavily hinted, and there wasn't a video package or anything. Defcon Eric says, think Red Shoes, the New Japan ref, will be at Forbidden Door. I don't know, to be honest. I mean, is he still active? I don't know if he even still, because he's been around a long time. If he is still active, then yeah, sure. Why not? So Moxley is working on the arm of Nick Jackson. We didn't see that scrum, but it happens you think it was set up or real. Oh, do I think the scrum was set up or real? I think it was real. Elbow drop by Moxley. I think the fact that we haven't seen CM Punk in a year, the fact that the Elite got suspended, which meant that they were gone for so long. I mean, you could make an argument that really did derail the momentum of AEW. So if it was scripted, if they had faked it, I would argue it was a massive own goal. Because really, things were going good and they were getting 1 million in ratings every now and again. And it just seemed to have a bit of momentum. And then I think losing Punk, losing the Elite. I mean, losing Punk and losing the Elite at the same time is ripping it's absolutely battering the top end of your card. Absolutely ripping it apart. So, I mean, for them to, do that to themselves, there's no way. And there's been too much talk about it. I mean, there's too many live accounts and too many like interviews and little comments that have been made. I just don't see any way that was scripted. I don't even know if that's a conspiracy theory that's out there, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was. I wouldn't be surprised if people speculated that it was fake. I remember it being speculated at the time, but I think as time went by, it became obvious that it was legit. Nice Northern Lights, and he's looking for another one. Bang, gets it. Looking for another one. Bang, gets it. Looking for another one. He loves that. Bang, gets it, but only this time he does it to two people. The way it sounds crazy, like it didn't seem real. There's no videos. No, I don't. That doesn't change my mind. I mean, I think CM Punk's not going to film it. It's the Elite going to try and deal with the comments that Punk has just made. I don't think they were, going to film it or looking for content. You could maybe make the argument that you might want to film it in case things got heated, that you had some sort of evidence as to what actually went down. But seemingly they didn't go with that mentality. It wasn't something they were looking to film for being the Elite. It wasn't something they were looking to include on the show. It was a real conversation that they were having. And so recording equipment, cameras, just wasn't factored in. So I don't find that unusual. It's one if someone's made some comment, if you worked in that environment, someone made comments about you, you went to talk to them about it, you wouldn't necessarily think like, I better film this. It's going to be hard to have an honest conversation with someone if you're standing there filming them like that, isn't it? Can you just tell me, what is it that you said, please? And what did you mean by that? Clothesline by Moxley. Fun little main event, but is it me? Because I feel like I've got my fill of Dynamite after the first minute 15 and it's tailed a bit. Yeah, maybe. I think the Toni Storm Sky Blue match was okay. Don't think it really set the world on fire. I've said before, this sort of like constant moves, lack of sell-ins, not my sort of thing. This is the other end of the spectrum to what Dragunov does. But there'll be people that are enjoying this. Listen, if you're a fan of AEW, I've got to think this is, for a lot of those fans, this has got to be right in your wheelhouse. Because, is there an AEW if you take Kenny and Hangman and the Young Bucks out? Here's Wheeler Yuta up top with a big splash, but Matt gets his knees up. Double super kick. Claudio goes down. Moxley comes in. He gets super kicked. Super kicks now for Wheeler Yuta. Tag. In comes Hangman. Hangman picks up Yuta. Powerbomb. Looking for the buckshot lariat. You can just see Moxley on the outside watching poor Wheeler Yuta get battered. There was a moment where Moxley was just stood on the edge of the ring and he was watching this thing unfold. So the Elite have beaten the Blackpool Combat Club. Now, we've still got 5 minutes here. Mitchell said, if you made a sign, what would it say? I always wanted to make a sign that said, made you look. Made you look. I don't know. I really don't know what a sign would say. I've never been a sign person, to be honest. Interesting question. Maybe one for the community. If you took a sign, what would it say? Right now, I am thinking Kota which was what James suggested earlier. That's where my head's at now, James. You've got me thinking about this, that we have ended early. Oh, it's Eddie Kingston, actually. Eddie Kingston's coming down. Oh, Eddie Kingston. Eddie unloading on Claudio. Eddie Kingston makes his way down. We got shots coming in by Claudio. Clothesline. Claudio goes to the outside. Moxley comes in. Kicks coming in by Matt Jackson. Eddie's like, nah, don't do that to him. Don't do that to him. Leave him. Oh, Moxley is pushing Kingston. Interesting dynamic, isn't it? Here's Takeshita. Takeshita comes down. Takeshita wallops Kingston. I've got a lot of moving parts here. Kingston's come down. Takeshita's come down. Everyone's out the ring apart from Takeshita. Boos are raining down for Takeshita. Crowd are going crazy. Here is Kenny. Kenny Omega gets in the ring. Omega and Takeshita are going at it, and the fans are into that. Against the ropes goes Takeshita. V trigger. Now he's looking. Snapdragon suplex. Super kick. Okay, I mean, there's so many people there now. Like, Takeshita is in the ring with Kenny. Elite and Blackpool Combat Club are still fighting. Kenny on his feet. Pointing at Takeshita. Bang. Against the ropes. Oh, super kick by Ospreay. Will Ospreay gets in the ring. Ospreay gets in the ring now. So, Will Ospreay. Remember what happens at Wrestle Kingdom. Elbow there by Ospreay. Omega goes down. So, Ospreay standing over Omega. I want to see the cleaner, says Brian. Danielson is just laughing. They're trying to make the show better than the Collision, said Serge. This is overbooked, says Travis. There is a lot going on here. There is a lot going on. Bang. Omega gets planted. Can't have many complaints about Will Ospreay coming out and dealing with Kenny. There's Don Callis applauding. Danielson applauding as well. It's pretty cool, isn't it? That one of the coolest wrestlers in the world is from England. That's pretty cool. So it's Ospreay in the corner. Sat there posing as Omega is down. AR1 said best Dynamite for months. Love Ospreay, but he ain't no Ibushi. Ospreay has definitely put some weight on since we first saw him. He looks really good. He looks really good. There we go. Ospreay walks away. Get in your scores then. What did you think of Dynamite? Put in your scores. What a banger of a show, said WWE and AEW fan. 9. Aubrey Edwards said 6.5. Chad said 6.5. Ospreay is awesome. Justin said 6. The last 50 minutes were a big drop for me. The last 5 minutes couldn't save it. Show was tasty. 8.5. Rivy said 7.31. Esteban said great show. James said Ibushi is coming. It's just when, not if. Greg says 8. Rivy 7.3. Mitchell said I'm about an 8. I am probably at a 7. It's tricky. I don't know if I'm 7.25 or 7.5. I was 7.5 around halfway. I do agree there is a dip in that second hour. I do like Ospreay coming in. There wasn't anything disastrous. There's probably a little dip in there in that second hour, in truth. There's probably a little dip. So I'd probably go 7.25, but I could be convinced to go 7.5. And I really thought it was an enjoyable show. Very entertaining. Wasn't bored in the slightest. I think the first match... I think it was really solid. I mean, I think rather than talking about what would you change, what would you do, which I think we've been doing as we've been watching, I think a show that good, I'd rather just be like, it was pretty solid. I mean, the women's match maybe was a bit of a low point, but that was still fine. Main event was, again, if you're into that kind of thing, I bet you loved it. It's not my kind of thing, though. But I mean, sometimes you can watch it and it's a bit like, Anna Jay. I mean, I'm really not into Anna Jay at all. Sometimes you have to sit and watch her compete. Sometimes you have some matches which feel like they're probably better suited to Dark and Elevation, whereas I don't think there was any of that this week. I think it all felt really worthy of being on Dynamite. I think it felt quite tight. We got some big announcements. We got some kind of shock moments, if you will, with Ospreay at the end. Obviously, we know about Sonada defending against Jungle Boy. So we got some more Forbidden Door announcements. We got a great opening match as well. Really enjoyable opening match. Yeah, I mean, I think I could be convinced to go 7.5. I think it was I agree with people. I think this was a really solid offering from Dynamite. But it's still not a show that's making me lose my mind. It's still not a show that's making me want to run to the streets, wave a flag, start chanting AEW. But much, much better than I think what we have been seeing. So more of that, please. More of that, please. Can't see any reason why we can't be getting shows of that caliber on a consistent basis. So, very good. Hopefully that's just a sign of where we are right now, with solid booking. We've got some really big shows coming up. And maybe that is the kind of standard that they can deliver on a consistent basis, which, as we said, would be brilliant because that was enjoyable. It was enjoyable. I did enjoy it. And I think, honestly, if you watched it and you just really didn't like it, if your score's like a 2 or a 3 after that, I think we can honestly say that Dynamite just is not for you. It's really not for you. And, I don't know that it will ever be. If you're at like a 2 or a 3 for that one. I think 7s, 8s are very, very fair. Even like a 6.5, I can understand it. As I said, I think there was a dip in that second part of the show, so I can understand there being some like mid 6s. If you're at about a 7 at the halfway point, dip off in the second half means you settle at a 6.5. I can get that as well. So, but much better, wasn't it? Good. It was a great show, but they dropped the ball with Kenny. He was leaving, I thought, to get somebody, but instead he didn't, said Higurashi. Was there a Tony Khan announcement? No, there wasn't. There wasn't. It gets extra points for that. Grant said it needed more Aubrey Edwards. I mean, I don't think anyone ever said that. Ever? With a straight face. Who won the main event? The Elite won the main event. If people are scoring this that low, then they're clearly just AEW haters. Well, maybe, or maybe they're just, I don't know, maybe it's just they don't feel, I don't know. I'm not going to try and defend it. Each to their own in it. And some people just might not have enjoyed Tony and Sky Blue, might not like that style of wrestling from the main event, might not care about watching Sting or that kind of match that was in the middle, might not have got any. I don't see how you couldn't have got some enjoyment out of MJF Adam Cole, though. I mean, I thought that was a really fun match. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think if it is, I think if you've scored it like 2s, 3s, I think it's probably just not for you. It's really probably not for you, and you might find some more enjoyable to do on a Wednesday. But no, it was good. It's a good offering this week. Really enjoyed it. Didn't feel bored once. There was nothing disastrous in there. Nothing that was like, oh my god, that's an epic fail. Yeah, more of that, please. More of that. No Tony Khan announcement. We're all winners, says AR1. Right, guys, we are done. I'm going to see if I can use the rest of this time tonight to get a few other bits and bobs done on the channel. So really appreciate the support. Hope you got some from that Dynamite. We are back on Friday with SmackDown. Should be a good show. We're doing UFC on Saturday. I've said for weeks now we can't do Collision because if we do, we could probably sack off UFC and do this week's Collision. But what's the point? Because there's going to be weeks where I can't do it. There's going to be weeks where I can't do Collision because there'll be Money in the Bank, or there'll be a massive UFC show, or there'll be boxing. I really think if you're going to do Collision, do it. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to do it every week, stick to it, commit to it, make it your weekly Saturday thing that you do. I think are you doing it this week? Are you not doing it this week? I don't want to enter into that. I don't want to get into that. So I think it's just better to say we can't do it, which is a shame. If it was Sunday, I would do it, because by and large Sundays are free, so we could have done it. If it was a Thursday, I'd have done it, because by and large Thursdays are free. So if it was one of those days, we would be doing it on a consistent basis. But it's a Saturday. It's the worst day because it's going up against some absolutely massive things. So as I said, rather than getting into that habit of doing it one week, not doing it another, people not knowing if we're doing it or not, and all that confusion, I think it's just better to say we just can't, unfortunately. But I'm sure there'll be channels that do cover it. There will be watch-alongs that are out there. And if you do watch it, I hope you enjoy it. I think I'll be streaming at the time it's on, actually. I think I'll be doing UFC. So I would say I'll watch it, but I don't know that I'll be able to. But obviously CM Punk coming back is going to be a big moment. It will be very interesting to hear what he's got to say. I might see if I can try and listen to it whilst I'm doing the UFC stream, because I would be interested to hear what he's got to say. I think there could be an apology in there. I think a lot of people might speculate that he's going to lay into the Elite, whatever, but I don't think AEW want that drama. I don't think they want that division. I think they want and need harmony. So if he is going to say something, I think it could be a bit of an apology for his part in what happened. So, but it'll be interesting to hear what he's got to say. So I think I might try and put it on and see if I can get to it whilst the UFC's on. It's going to make it very difficult. Be a difficult thing to do, but I'll try and do that at least. But yeah, sadly, no regular Collision streams as a result. But appreciate the support. Appreciate people joining us. Hope you got something from that show, and hopefully I will see you again next time.